required. Six a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The latest college football rankings ahead of championship weekend dropped last night. Ohio State, Indiana remain at 1 and 2. Georgia and Texas Tech round out the top four, and then it's Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU, and Miami rounding out the top 12. On the outside looking in, it's Texas at number 13, and Vanderbilt comes in at 14. In college hoops last night, Tennessee falls to Syracuse 62-64. Jalen Carey had a game-high 22 points off the bench. Tennessee drops to 7-2 on the year. Some other scores, it wasn't the SEC's night in the ACC versus SEC Challenge. Duke beating Florida 67-66. And North Carolina beating Kentucky 67-64. Huge news yesterday for Vanderbilt football as they flipped 2026 five-star quarterback Jared Curtis from Georgia to Vandy. Curtis, a Nashville native at Nashville Christian School, took to social media last night confirming his commitment to the Commodores, who now land their best recruit in program history. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday morning at 104.5 The Zone starts right now. Welcome in on a frigid Wednesday in Middle Tennessee. You are listening or watching Ramon and Will. 104.5 The Zone TV, where you watch us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The phone number, 615-737-1045. Jason Swain talks Vols at 7:20. We talk about Cam Ward's aggressiveness, whether or not that is a good thing for the Tennessee Titans offense and how you coach it, how you hone in on it. a little bit. Rhett Bryan will preview Titans and Browns with us at 9 a.m. And we will begin with the college football playoff rankings. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, the producer. I'm Will Bowling, at Ramon and Will on Twitter. Good morning, Ramon Foster. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you, dog? Well, I'll tell you how I am. You asked me how I was. I'm good. You know, I didn't have to pull this is a first world thing for sure. I drove my car this morning, didn't have to pull out the garage, so I know it's going to be frigid. Had a long day of work yesterday, man. I'm talking about from the time I got off till later in the evening. But overall, not bad. I'm looking at the Titans game over again, too, just to see what it looks like going, and like, is there development to be had with this team as far as, just the overall play? Why did it take a step back last week against the Jaguars? And man, just trying to figure out, like everybody, you said we're going to talk about the college football playoffs, and I saw it. Like, we're going to have that conversation, but I also don't understand it at the same time. And you know what? It ain't just me. It's a lot of everybody else is looking like, who was it, Reese last night? This was like, so you're telling me there's a chance that Miami could get in? I forget who it was at the end.
That's correct.
And Arkansas's AD gave an answer, and Reese just laughed. I was just like, oh, this is nobody gets what you guys are doing, the CFP committee.
So what you're saying is that your confusion on how the Titans played Sunday overlaps with your confusion on playoff rankings last night.
Yes. Yes, those things are one and the same at this point right now, because there are going to be a lot of ticked off fan bases behind this college football playoff, I guess, selection at this, or party that you're not invited to, according to a lot of people on social media. It's become hey, you either got to be big enough, a big enough brand, be good enough to get in.
Or have big enough wins.
Big enough wins.
That's where we're at, except that applies to some teams and not necessarily all of them. It would be a shame if I tried to tell you a month ago. But, Ramon, as you know, I tried to tell the people
you did
that this was coming. 10-2 Vanderbilt will not be in the college football playoff. The Commodores did not move, despite winning at Neyland Stadium by 21 points over the weekend. They stay at 14 in the college football playoff rankings, jumped by, again, what did we tell the people yesterday, Ramon?
Called it.
Texas.
You called it.
With one of the best wins in college football over the weekend, Texas's win over A&M, enough to jump them to 13, not enough to jump them into the playoff, as Steve Sarkisian politicked for after that win. Miami is 12, but Miami also not dead, because Hunter Yurachek says that it is easier to use head-to-head win as a data point if teams are back-to-back in the rankings. Well, BYU's 11. They play this weekend. So BYU loses, and then they lose handily, and they get punished for it. All of a sudden, now Miami could be 11. Notre Dame is at 10. And wouldn't you know that Miami has beaten Notre Dame this year? And Alabama is 9. That way the committee can avoid a very awkward situation where they get blown out in the SEC championship game. BYU upsets Texas Tech in the Big 12 title. And then that could have left Alabama out, who's not 1,000% in at this point. I hope you're all taking notes, because we have got a lot that can still change heading into conference championship weekend, where most of these teams aren't even playing.
There's 5 SEC teams right now that would be in. Will just told you them: Alabama, Georgia, OU, Ole Miss, and A&M. Also, outside looking in is Texas. Then you got the Big Ten. I think their 3 are set for the most part, wouldn't you say? Oregon, Ohio State, IU?
I would agree.
Yeah, those are set.
I would certainly agree.
Still in the mix, nobody. Big 12, Texas Tech. And
Texas Tech definitely in, BYU on the bubble.
You gave the scenario BYU is 11-1. Like, Vandy, you got the right to be upset. But if you're BYU, you're like, we checked every box. Like, what was it, lost Texas Tech at this point?
That's their one loss.
Legitimately, a one-loss SEC school would get in. Correct? Is the way you see this?
100%. If you were 11-1 in the SEC, you would be a lock.
10-2, I thought, was the number. I will not lie to you. And maybe it's because we got in, the Vols, Tennessee Volunteers, got in with a 10-2 record, and I knew the brand of the SEC mattered. I did know that. Looking at last year's teams, how you lost, I thought the Vols lost pretty bad to Georgia, but you had, to your point, what you said a second ago, there are good wins that have to be had, too. And that's why, from the SEC standpoint, the questions that you have as a conference from from Commissioner Sankey to the coaches that are trying to adopt it, like what do these 9 SEC games mean? Are they weighed the same if you go through a gauntlet of, I guess, moving forward, LSU, Georgia, Texas A&M, Tennessee?
Well, it'll be easier to have balanced schedules with 9. You're less likely to have one team like Tennessee play as easy a schedule as it did, and have a team like, really Oklahoma, who is in and navigated it well. Like Oklahoma's 10-2 is not the same as Vanderbilt's 10-2.
But what if, now the conversation as far as this SEC championship goes down to Alabama's quest, right? Does the conference championship affect what they have going on if they do lose to Georgia this upcoming
Depends on how they
weekend?
lose.
I know.
Also, does their quarterback go down with an injury like Jordan Travis did for the ACC a couple years ago?
Too. But
does that still matter? I don't know.
Did they give us an answer on if conference championships matter? And I feel like they did, but they didn't. And
then in another way, you've got the Mountain West Championship that could impact Notre Dame's resume. Because one of Notre Dame's better wins this year was 28-7 way back at the beginning of the season against Boise State. Mm-hmm. If Boise State were to lose to UNLV in the Mountain West Championship game, by the way, Dan Mullen coaches UNLV for those of you who forgot.
Know that. You know who else is on that? Well, to me, you know who else is on that staff?
Who's that?
Vontez Burfict.
Really?
Yeah.
He's allowed to mold young minds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight up.
You might have more hearings in the future in the NFL when his proteges make it. Again, you don't have to comment on that. Anyway, okay. Well, that's a new piece of information I didn't have until this morning.
Good for him, man.
If that game goes UNLV's way, all of a sudden Notre Dame's resume gets a little bit worse. It's such a mess. It's such a mess. If there's one thing I feel like I'm more confident in, after watching last night's show, after watching the rankings come out, it is that this format is not going to last much longer.
No, it's not.
It is really not going to last much longer. If there is a scenario where 2 Big 12 teams and 2 G5 teams are in,
and no ACC,
and there are 2 legitimate SEC teams that are not in, the SEC is more likely to just make its own playoff.
You saying the good old boys won't be able to go to the country club?
No.
Okay.
No, it just don't get too attached to this format.
I thought you was going to use that Future reference.
It's going to change next year.
I thought you was going to say, don't get too comfortable like Future. I listened to that song this morning coming in. You know another thing?
You can make the reference.
Well, teams don't get too comfortable. Okay, I have to play that.
No, keep going.
No, we're good.
Doing fantastic.
Will, what I also learned last night too, and through this year, in the last couple of years, you be a fool, okay? A new one and an old one to ever thinking about leaving Notre Dame as a coach. You're going to always have a show.
You got it made. They've got it made.
You're going to always have a seat at the table, man.
Yep.
It's just looking at that scenario. You're telling me that Miami is out.
Maybe. But we don't know that.
But as it stands right now, yeah. But Miami beat Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is cozy and good and chilling in the CFP playoff situation.
Right.
Scenario right now. How is that the case? Like, I get it. They lost to Louisville by 3 points, though. And they're behind Notre Dame?
Yep.
That in itself, that's enough to go fight somebody. I'm
they
gonna be
say
real
that
with you.
BYU is better than Miami, but if Miami were to be ranked right behind Notre Dame, then they would have a case based on head-to-head. Well, why doesn't the head-to-head matter now? Well, because BYU's not as good as Notre Dame. Okay, well, the head-to-head either matters or it doesn't. That game was played in September.
Yeah, man.
The result does not magically become more or less important in December. It's got to either matter now or it doesn't. And that's the thing that I think is very odd within all of this.
And what's crazier, and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but you have a Virginia versus Duke ACC championship game.
And Duke is not even guaranteed a spot, even if they win the ACC.
So we're just all the way out on Virginia also?
No, not necessarily. If Virginia wins, they're in.
Wondering.
If they win, they're in. Duke does not necessarily get in if they win.
Would they take Miami's spot, Virginia, if they win?
Yeah.
No.
They don't.
No, Virginia has a spot today. Virginia already has a spot. Top 5 conference champions, and then the next 7 teams.
Yeah. But if Duke beats Virginia in the championship,
then they are not guaranteed a spot, but then another G5 team could get it because that is reserved for conference champions.
That's what that
Like
was.
James
James Madison, the Dukes are cheering for Duke.
2-5,
But
baby.
the Dukes are cheering for Duke to win, but not be ranked ahead of them because in that case, we get a Sun Belt team and an American team without having the ACC in at all, other than maybe Miami, who didn't even go to the conference championship game because they didn't play anybody hard in the ACC. The whole thing is so messed up. It is so messed up, and it's going to change really soon. And that's about the only thing I can confidently tell you at this point. And the fact that no one's going to schedule difficult P4 opponents unless they really have to. No. Because the only thing keeping Texas out, I know they lost to Florida. Texas has lost to Ohio State is keeping them out of the college football playoff.
That was only a 7-point loss to the number one team in
Columbus. Yeah.
That should be
Florida's loss. But
you get a mulligan.
But you do
get a mulligan if you don't schedule Ohio State. That's under your control. That 100%.
Don't lose to Florida.
Okay, well then don't schedule Ohio State. Like we go back and forth all day on this, Justin.
That's true.
I know,
Tennessee lost to Arkansas, which was a mulligan loss. If Tennessee had not scheduled NC State in last year's non-conference, we'd be having the same conversation about 2024 Tennessee. Like, oh, well, then don't lose to Arkansas. Oh, well, then don't schedule X, Y, or Z team.
That was our biggest conversation right there was how big was the NC State win? Like, what did it matter? Like, I remember, like,
it didn't.
Where were they ranked then versus then? Because they crashed and burned as a team.
100%.
And it didn't really weigh as heavy at the time.
100%. It's both sides of it. Don't lose to Florida, but also don't schedule Ohio State.
That's true. Like,
especially now with 9-game schedules in these conferences.
Yeah.
Where Tennessee's schedule next season, 100% tougher than their SEC schedule this year. Even just the home schedule. We thought Tennessee was going to have an easy home schedule. They went 1-3 in the SEC at home.
Yeah. This is also where the conversation, I get why now, for the committee's sake, they're going to want 16 teams.
100%. At least.
This takes pressure off of them.
At least 16 teams.
Yeah, this takes pressure off of them.
Because last season it felt like there were, 6 to 8 like really playoff worthy, really good football teams that could go on a run.
Yeah.
This season it feels like there's 14 or 15. Yeah. There are more worthy teams than there are spots, as our friend Bill Connolly told us yesterday. 615-737-1045. There was a seismic shift in college football yesterday, and it happened right here in the city of Nashville. We'll tell you what it was and what it means for Vanderbilt football moving forward. Coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you are spending time in crowded rooms and noisy rooms last week during Thanksgiving, maybe you're thinking to yourself, I can't hear as well as I used to. Or maybe you are thinking of a family member who you know can't hear as well as they used to. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Their team of doctors of audiology, they're always committed to providing patients with the most recent hearing device technology, and they've got the best technology on the market. Especially if you are having difficulty hearing when there's background noise, give them a call today and schedule your demonstration of industry-changing technology, which also connects directly to your smartphone and your television. Give Brentwood Hearing Center a call at 615-377-0420. They're going to get to know you. They're going to sit down with you, give you a hearing test, and then pinpoint the problems, where you're having trouble hearing, what you value in technology. They've got so many options. Let them take you through it. Online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing, better life. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, live for the 104.5 The Zone Circa Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045 with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Five-star quarterback Jared Curtis is going to be a Vanderbilt Commodore, not a Georgia Bulldog. This was a big story throughout the last month. It came to a head yesterday as the number one quarterback in the country, according to Rivals, and number two prospect overall flipped his commitment to the doors. He had been committed to Georgia since May. 247's got him as their number three player. Ramon, what was your reaction yesterday to the news that a lot of us expected, but weren't 100% sure was going to happen until early yesterday afternoon?
I got Hawk that was looking up a sound for me real quick. What you got it, Hawk? Money talks, baby. I'll say this, besides the money side of it too, because I'm sure both of those teams poured out, and that's just how you do business in today's world with 5 stars. If you're one of the 32 guys, that's at the forefront of it. I thought Georgia did a lot of babysitting on this one, and it ain't how you start these type of recruitments, it's how you finish it. Vanderbilt had the perfect time and the perfect scenario to have an in-state player like Jared Curtis to have the best year in their program history. The momentum of being inside of the city, seeing it, living at Clark Lee, knocking off people as much as he possibly could through this process. Once they got him on campus, you knew that the conversation was going to be had. Like it was. You thought Georgia could close out because they're Georgia. But I'm sure the opportunity probably of playing early, playing for your home state, playing in the city that you were raised in, and have everybody that has ever supported you be within 15, 20 miles of coming to see you every freaking Saturday. Good on Vanderbilt closing it out. I'm sure it wasn't easy. There was a commitment, decommitment. There was also a commitment again, and then he finally came out last night and said, yes, he's going to be a door. So good on them, man. I just thought the entire process was unique. I wonder why the decommitments from Georgia earlier this year. What did he see? Was Vanderbilt on at that point, or did Jared Curtis and his family have to figure out what Vanderbilt was going to be, how serious it is, too? And when you're in his position, I'm sure with an agent, with his family that's probably very savvy with this type of stuff, I'm sure Vanderbilt and Clark Lee and the administration had to walk out a real detailed plan on how he was going to be successful, because it's one thing to be – probably a day one starter, but you also got to have, you got to be a build up around that too. Like, what are you going to do to support him?
Right. Jared Curtis released a long statement yesterday. Not going to read this whole thing. You can go look at it at Jared Curtis 37 on Twitter, where Jared Curtis says, "I do love Georgia. I love the coaches and players there. They have been so good to me and my family. I know they would do everything to help me be successful. They have been the best program in the country for a reason. This past year, it's where I wanted to be and definitely where my parents have wanted me to go. That's part of what makes this so hard. You try to make everyone who has been good to you and done so much for you happy. And when you can't, it sucks. But I got to walk my path, and that feels right in my heart. At the end of the day, this has to be my decision." Jared Curtis goes on to say, "Being here in Nashville and seeing what Vandy has been doing this season has been amazing. And over the past few weeks, I felt more and more that I want to be a part of that, to be close to home, to play in front of my friends and family, and to be what I love, an underdog. I am excited to be a door and excited to be a part of building something here at home with Coach Lee." I think this next part is interesting, and I think it does describe the personality of the young man, of the Nashville Christian program that's going to play for its second straight state championship tomorrow night, a game I'm going to be on the call for the statewide network and NFHS. Says, "When my mom drove me to my first QB lesson, she saw something in me before I ever saw it in myself. I just wanted to play football with my friends. My parents showed me it could be a path to college football." Again, this is Jared Curtis, now Vandy commit, soon to be signee. "That's a pretty crazy thing coming from our small town. They knew staying at Nashville Christian was the right thing when I fought them about making the drive back and forth 2 hours each day. And when some of those big private schools called us, we chose to stay at our little Christian school and do it our way. We chose the underdog. My parents showed me the underdog can be a winner." Goes on to talk more about playing in First Bank Stadium, see the people he loves up there supporting him, being the local kid. Ramon, I think the challenge in embracing the underdog role is with the competition that you have played for all of those years. I am not taking anything away from Jared Curtis. I'm not taking anything away from Nashville Christian head coach Jeff Brothers. That is a very well-coached team, always has been. That's a team that has been at the state championship game routinely. I mean, you talk about Daniel Batuli, really good middle linebacker for Tennessee about 10 years ago. Nashville Christian. Think about some of the linemen that they have had, some of the big-time players. I'm taking nothing away from that program. There's some really good football played in that division. But through Jared Curtis's own words, choosing the underdog in the quote-unquote little Christian school, there is going to be a learning curve for him if he is the starting quarterback right away for Vanderbilt. Yeah. And if there's one thing I think Vandy's got to do, Ramon, they've got to get him competition. They have got to have somebody come in and be a legitimate option to start. I know they've probably told him he's going to be the starter right away. But Vandy is built for success. There's no question under Clark Lee. This is not just going to go away because Diego Pavia has graduated.
Absolutely not.
The thing is, though, you are going from one end of the extreme in terms of experience to totally the other side, and totally to the end of, hey, no experience in college. That is a big change and something that Vanderbilt really benefited from this year.
I guess and one story's not like the other. People are different. States are different also as far as high school competition goes, and development and also support too. Before I go that way, like I'm sure the replication of what they did this past year as far as hitting the portal, finding offensive linemen, finding seasoned guys, finding playmakers. Like Junior Sherrill was already there with Diego, right? And Stowers was too. They went out and got some other help. So Vanderbilt knows what to do with that side of the portal and trying to sustain a team that's going to be competitive. I guess I'll say this as far as your point that you're trying to make is Arch Manning is a one-to-one comparison when it comes down to going from a very small school level in high school to jumping into Texas with the higher elevation of play. The conversation with Arch was cooking 1A high school football players in a private school. Arch also had a year to sit, and we also saw 2 years. We also saw this past year that step up, or that him hitting the gas as far as when he's going to step up and be the guy that you want him to be. It took a little while, is the point. I'm not sure how quick Clark Lee and his staff can speed up the process for Jared Curtis, and maybe he's just built different too. Let's just throw that out there.
He might be.
There's probably just built different. And right? Again, if that's 100%. His mindset of being the underdog, he understands the situation he's getting himself into.
He's crazy talented. I'm not doubting him at all. He's going to be a stud at Vanderbilt.
But a day one starter out of high school is going to present its challenges, most definitely. But if he's built different, he understands it. If Vanderbilt understands it also and support him with the right group of people that he needs to be successful, good. But it's going to take, I think, just as much as they did this past year to replicate what they had to have with Jared moving forward.
I agree. I think that you've got to have a lot of 23-year-old football players around Jared Curtis.
Yeah.
That's not an insult. I think Jared Curtis would agree with that, right?
Like he would want that. If that's my kid, 100%. That's what I want. Like, give me what you gave Pavia.
If you are in this city, you were more in tune to what Vandy did right this year before a lot of the country was. And he knows why they had success. Like, I don't think any of what I'm saying Jared Curtis would disagree with, or his camp or family or coaches would disagree with. It's just a question that Clark Lee's got to answer. How do I put together this winning formula in a similar way with one big variable changing in experience at the quarterback position? We saw Bryce Underwood have a lot of success at Michigan this season as a true freshman. Bryce Underwood was last year's #1 overall quarterback. He flipped from LSU to Michigan right at the very end. So this isn't even just a Vandy decision. Like, that is a legitimate P4 national champion in the last 5 years that also decided, hey, this kid's good enough. Mm-hmm. He's got to play right away. And I don't think it's the wrong decision by Vanderbilt. I don't think it's the wrong decision by Jared Curtis. It's his decision to make. It just now raises other questions of how are you going to surround him with talent.
Yeah.
I am curious this offseason, Ramon, how many more teams try to replicate the Vanderbilt model this offseason and prioritize experience over raw talent? Because Vanderbilt was the oldest team in the SEC this season. Tennessee was the youngest. Well, we saw what happened when those two teams got together on Saturday, 45-24 in Knoxville. How many more SEC teams tried to get a lot of experience, try to get graduates? If two players look similar to you on film, are you now more prioritizing the older football player who might have less time, but also might bring you a little bit more veteran experience and a little bit more maturity to your football team when it's all said and done? I think that there are going to be more teams that are entering the graduate transfer market because of how much success Vanderbilt had doing that this past offseason.
I personally don't think a lot more teams would do it. I can see a team like South Carolina trying to do it, Kentucky trying to do it, because here's the other part of it, too. For me, when you got elite athletes, though, too, they will eventually show up. The same way I feel like Georgia was in the middle of the road with their age, and then their talent also showed up. I think the teams who are desperate to stay relevant, this is the pathway for them. If you're smart, and Auburn, right? Auburn's trying to jumpstart something really fast. Alex Golish needs to be a coach down there that wins as quick as he possibly can. Shane Beamer at South Carolina needs to be a coach that proves that he's worthy of keeping that job. I see them potentially doing it. I see Auburn potentially doing it. Vanderbilt trying to do it again.
A lot of teams that do coaches in the SEC.
Yeah, it is. But you also look at the hotbed of recruiting that some of these teams already have. If Lane Kiffin can retain what he has, right, then he doesn't have to go that route. I don't think Texas have to go that route. I think it's smart for the Vols to sprinkle in a few, not as many as what Vanderbilt have.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sprinkling, not only having 23-year-olds.
He had a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, I do see that being a part of it. Now, here's the question that you have to answer as a staff. How are you evaluating these guys? Because sometimes just because you're older doesn't mean you're good. And that's what I've learned. And that's the only reason I brought up the fact that sometimes the talent will show up no matter what the age is at times. Eventually, we saw Arch Manning's talent, right? Marcel Reed, we saw what his talent is at that point in time as far as what he's capable of as a quarterback. And it's just a matter of how desperate of a coach are you to get to that point. It will benefit Mississippi State to go through that method.
100%. If you have barriers that are preventing you from signing a top 10 to 15 high school recruiting class, you have to get creative in some way in the portal. There's so many examples of this. Ole Miss is an example of that. It's not necessarily that they're getting old players. They're just spending more of their money on transfers than they are on high school recruits because they know that it's kind of like when you go into a game and your strategy is, all right, let's take away everything. Let's shut down this offense. What's the old saying? If you take away everything, you really stop nothing.
Yeah.
If you pick one thing, like let's force this quarterback to scramble to his left versus his right. Let's force this run game to run between the tackles and not bounce it outside. Well, then all of a sudden you can take away one thing, you force a team to get uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Same thing in recruiting. Mm-hmm. If you tried to master everything at an Ole Miss, at a Mississippi State, at a South Carolina, at a Vanderbilt, you are not going to be able to swim in the same pool as the big dogs. You can't swim in the deep end with Alabamas and Georgias going up for the same players. You've got to get creative and master something.
Yeah.
And for Vanderbilt, that has been graduate student players with maturity, with experience, who can come in, get a graduate degree at Vanderbilt, and be done in a year.
That would be something.
That's what you got to keep doing.
That's what you're selling right there. Do we believe recruiting rankings matter?
100% they matter.
Well,
no question.
Vandy moved up to 31st, and I went and looked at the rest of their recruiting class to your point about how they need to go about, sustaining this. Mm-hmm. Their second highest rated player is the 434th player ranked nationally. After that, 461. They do have an offensive tackle. I'm seeing right now, it's weird looking at his numbers because he is a 3-star. They got him ranked nationally as 37th. I think that's wrong. But either way, what I'm getting at is this. They got a 565th ranked national player also. more teams, well, the good teams have a good bit of the top 300. The better teams have a top 150. Georgia is operating in the top 150. Alabama is operating in the top 150. I think Tennessee's got 6 guys in the top 150, and they're ranked 10th as far as the overall rankings right now.
Probably going to get better today with some of the flips that are on the board for Tennessee.
So I hadn't even seen those right now. But here's what I will give Jared Curtis, Diego Pavia a ton of credit for. You have changed the profile of the players that Vanderbilt considers taking in.
100%.
And that part right there, I've heard from the fan bases in the YouTube chat, on the street. Heck, some of my middle school football players are Vandy fans. We're coming. Like, if that's the case, I don't even know if you have to lower, to your point, your educational requirements to get in, especially if you got graduates.
Right.
Diego Pavia needs a statue. Okay?
Because you don't get Jared Curtis without Diego Pavia.
You don't get this. He ain't even looking at you. Last year when he decommitted, I'm not sure if he was decommitting. He went to Oregon.
From Oregon.
Yeah, he went to Oregon.
To recommit to Georgia.
Put a statue up. I'm talking about right now. Put his brothers and his mama right there with him, too.
Ooh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if they deserve
the whole crew. Put the whole crew up there.
The brothers may be in handcuffs if they're in a statue, but I don't know if they...
That was real?
Yeah, they got arrested.
I thought that was AI.
I think he's been arrested like 3 times.
Yeah.
In different stadiums?
Yeah. There was one in Texas for Tennessee, and there was one somewhere else.
Are you going to put a state trooper on a statue as well?
This ain't Georgia. Stop. Considering Georgia just took an L to Vanderbilt at this point.
Rivals Director of Scouting Charles Powers says about Jared Curtis, elite arm talent with creative playmaking ability. Looks like the top arm talent in the 2026 cycle. Ball explodes off his hand, generates considerable velocity and throws to all areas of the field, has a loose, natural throwing motion, capable of delivering impressive passes from several arm angles, a pure rotational athlete who does not need his feet set to throw accurate passes. Had some unbelievable second reaction plays as a junior, evading pass rushers and uncorking 50-plus yard throws downfield. The dude literally will jump in the air, Ramon, off both feet and throw it 50 yards in the air accurately down the field.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable, the athletic ability and the arm talent of Vanderbilt's new 5-star quarterback. I'm excited to call his state championship game tomorrow as his team looks to win their second straight state title. There's still really good football played in Division II Single A. Hear me when I say that. Like, there could be smaller divisions that he could be coming from, all right? Like, I don't want this to be a negative on him or on Nashville Christian or on that program, because that's really good football still being played. There are just natural differences that are really going to be a challenge for him going from that to starting right away in the SEC. That would be true of every high school football player coming from the state of Tennessee.
Who else has been a true freshman starting in the SEC? True freshman.
In the SEC?
Yeah. Marcel?
DJ Lagway. Last season for Florida.
But he split time.
Originally with Graham Mertz, and then
yeah.
Graham Mertz got the torn ACL in Knoxville, so started the second half of the season.
Lenore Sellers?
Deuce Knight started a couple weeks ago, but that was only one game against
I'm
who
talking
was
about
that?
opening day starter.
Mercer. Opening day freshman starter in the SEC. I'd have to look back at
Not
that.
Milroe. Jalen Milroe wasn't.
No. I'll look
Arch
back.
didn't.
Let me research that.
Yeah, we'll have to look.
I think it's been a little bit. 615-737-1045 is our number. Tennessee basketball losing at Syracuse last night. Some concerning trends for Tennessee hoops we'll dive into next.
Genesis Diamonds really shines this time of the year. The cases are jam-packed with all the best gifts, highest quality at the guaranteed best value prices. Engagement rings, diamond bracelets, eternity bands, earrings, pendants, colored gemstone jewelry, Rolex watches, and listen, this December at Genesis, you can get the holiday jewelry she wants for $0 down and no interest for 5 years. So you can go big without going broke. Pick any item, spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. That $6,000 ring is just $100 a month. Do the math. Everything is affordable. Genesis non-commissioned experts are ready to help you find the headliner gift from a few $100s to a few $100,000. $1,000 if you want. Elegant pendants, dazzling eternity bands, stylish wedding bands, and an incredible selection of diamond classic jewelry. 0 down, 0 interest, again, for 5 full years. And yes, hundreds of pristine pre-owned Rolex watches, all the most popular models too. And if you love a deal, hear me out. Here's something all new for 2025. The Genesis Diamonds Half-Price Holiday Vault. A select group of showcases featuring expertly curated Christmas gifts that Genesis is offering at half price. That's 50% savings, the biggest discount ever. You need to check this out. Genesis Diamonds is a place for that spectacular holiday gift. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour one this morning. Jason Swain, former Tennessee receiver, coming up in a half hour. 615-737-1045. The last true freshman quarterback to start an SEC game, Auburn quarterback Bo Nix. Research Department Justin Hawkins correctly pointing that out.
How did that freshman year go for Bo?
Pretty well.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Good.
he beat Oregon in his first ever game.
He did.
In Atlanta.
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Good for him.
That's right. Feels like a decade ago.
2019.
Yeah.
How does he got this?
That's when he started his 11-year college career.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
You said
Tennessee,
11.
I did say 11 years. They just processed. Tennessee loses 62-60 last night in the artist formerly known as the Carrier Dome, and they dropped their second straight, Ramon. Some concerns coming out of this one. Pretty much anyone named Jalen Carey, or anyone not named Jalen Carey, needed more from you.
Yeah, man.
In this game, Jalen Carey took over. He was absolutely terrific in this game. Tennessee missed its first 7 shots from the field. Didn't get one to fall until Carey's first shot attempt. Tennessee was down 44-35. Carey then gets 8 points over a 3-minute stretch. Tennessee uses a 16-6 run to reclaim the lead, but ultimately turnovers made a difference. Nate Ament had 7 of them in this game, and this is a Syracuse team, Ramon, that was ranked 91st in the net rankings that just came out this week.
Yeah.
That beat you in their home arena in this game. What concerned you out of this one?
The lulls that they go through offensively, can't buy a bucket, don't know why, don't know how they're going to get a bucket, I feel like at times. And then, as you mentioned all of that, as they're trying to score, the turnovers. Like, I feel they look like a team right now that's trying to find some chemistry. They look like a team right now that know they got a good bit of talent, and they're deferring shots too much. They're taking an extra dribble, I feel like, at times where they shouldn't. I was looking at a little bit of the Duke-Kentucky game. No, it was a Duke and Kentucky game last night. No, Duke and Florida.
Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Florida.
Duke, Florida.
2 really good games.
Yeah,
I watched all of it.
Yes, and I'm looking at their 5-star phenom, Battier. Oh, golly, what is his last name? Boozer. I'm looking at Boozer. Can Boozer just take the shot because it's there? Like, Nate Ament got to do the exact same thing at times, too. Like, you're the guy. Go
Caleb
take
Wilson
the shot.
at UNC doing the same thing in North Carolina's win at Rupp Arena last night.
And like, all of that, their aggressiveness has to take over. Somebody, either Gillespie or Nate Ament, have to just say, I got it. And it's okay. And I feel like, again, the way Coach Barnes has his teams and the way he built them up, the team concept, everybody plays defense. When it's your time, you got to go. But I feel like Nate Ament has the green light. Gillespie has the green light. Also, like, it's okay if you dudes go do the thing, and that right there is causing a whole lot of just anxiety when it comes down to performing, man. And the turnovers, again, when the pressing just don't help. When they had to go inside, basically, and find offense through Jalen Carey, who I love. I love the fact that the big dog was cooking.
Absolutely.
But that told us where that game was. Like, y'all ain't got no answers outside right now. That, to me, was concerning. They've kind of done it 1 or 2 times. Coach Barnes said after the Kansas loss, like, the team last year would have lost to Houston. But there ain't no way in heck, he ain't say hell at all. There's no way they would have lost to Kansas.
Right.
Last year teams wouldn't have lost to Syracuse either.
100%. And I think I'm not making an excuse. This is what it looked like to me. It looked like Tennessee just could not shoot in that gym. And the background of what was behind the hoop is so different at Syracuse, where you're in a football stadium, and it probably looks really different. Same thing happened, by the way, last year at Lucas Oil. They play tournament games in stadiums like that, but that's what it looked like to me. But also, you got to keep shooting. You got to find the right shots. And I think Tennessee was way too timid.
Hesitation.
And not 100%. They were not decisive enough in what to do with the basketball that then they would just turn it over. The thing about Nate Ament, and you bring up the perfect point, Caleb Wilson last night. By the way, if you've not watched him play for North Carolina,
he nice.
This freshman class of players like Flemings at Houston, Wilson at North Carolina, the Boozers at Duke, Ament obviously at Tennessee. There are more that I'm leaving out in this as well. There are so many good. AJ DeBanza obviously at BYU.
Yeah.
Caleb Wilson last night only made 5 shots. He was 5 of 19, but he kept shooting. 6 assists, 12 rebounds. He only had 2 turnovers in that game. A miss is better than a live ball turnover that allows your opponent to run in the fast break. And that was Tennessee's issue in this game last night. Their defense is so good in the half court. They were not allowing that defense to get set up against Syracuse because Syracuse is just taking the ball from them, sprinting the other direction and laying it in before you could get back and get set. You don't get to benefit from the best part of your basketball team when you have these live ball turnovers. And then, too, if your half-court defense can't set up, Ramon, then you don't get to benefit from fast break opportunities yourself. Nope. Because then you can't turn over Syracuse and run before their defense. Like, turnovers are the worst-case scenario for this team. Nate Amen had 7 of them last night. Rick Barnes said after the game he is putting way too much pressure on himself. I don't know what it's going to take for him to be more of a distributor in some moments, just making quicker decisions.
Yeah.
You can tell he's kind of swimming right now. I think this team's going to be okay. I think they're going to learn how to play together, and their potential, Ramon, is so high.
It is.
They could be so good, but they're not that team right now.
To your point about it does look like he's pressing. Nate Amen. He's pressing. You see it on his you see it in his play. You see it in the fouls that he's getting when he's attempting to drive like through 3-4 people instead of like, pulling up in the middle of the paint. He's driving to go like finish at the bucket and around the bucket and stuff. I'm like, no, kid, you're a shooter. Shoot, like work them. And I don't know, you can see them wanting to be aggressive, but also trying to respect the team concept that Coach Barnes has kind of instilled in them in this short time right now. Everybody except for Jalen Carey last night. He was like, ball in my hand, I'm going for it. And that type of game that they played last night would have been perfect if the guards had done their job too.
And that's going to be the concern about this team all year. All year is their depth at the guard position. Amari Abram, Ethan Berg, Amari Evans, Clarence Masamba, who Rick continues to say will help them down the stretch. They need another. Bishop Boswell stepped up in a big way when he wasn't in foul trouble as much last night. His drive downhill to get Tennessee tied, I want a lot more of that.
Yeah.
I want Bishop Boswell getting to the basket and creating open shots on the perimeter for guys or just finishing the way they did. But I totally agree with the way you saw it. I would say
the unnecessary fouls too early got to stop. 22 to 15 free throw shots last night, too. And I love my guy, K. Phillips. I'm a big K. Phillips fan, but his unnecessary fouls at time, like in tournament time when you got to have a guy go be a bully and say, yeah, hey, go get him, sick him, cool. But starting off the game like that at times, like coming out the first half, all starters had 2 or 3 fouls going into halftime.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, I also didn't like how they started to change what an offensive foul was, like midway through this game.
That's also true.
Because Jalen Carey was going through guys, and Autry, the head coach at Syracuse, complained enough about it that all of a sudden that became a foul.
Yeah, he did.
615-737-1045. There is another team that I think the Tennessee Titans need to be watching closely. There is an NFC head coach who made a comment yesterday that I think could apply to the 2026 Tennessee Titans. I'll tell you what I mean by that coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will for Volunteer Traditions. Not just the tradition itself, but the clothing brand. Something that's going to keep you warm if you want to, going to keep you looking good if you have to, and just your everyday apparel, Will. They got everything that you could possibly want, man, from head to toe, literally. They got socks that I wore this past weekend from Volunteer Tradition. Listen, if you don't want to order online and you want to go see the product, feel the fabric yourself, they have a brick and mortar store in Gallatin, Tennessee. It is by far one of the best places you can go shop for Vol gear, man. Will, so many items they have, man.
They have the best Vols items on the market. They've got some blue TriStar gear as well, if you're into that. Up to 40% off right now as well on premium apparel. It is Volunteer Tradition's biggest sale of the year. Whether you're shopping for yourself or grabbing bundles and deals for every Vols fan, this is the time to load up. Started on campus back in 06. Voltrad still makes gear for Vols fans, by Vols fans, now with holiday savings you can't beat. Check them out online at volunteertraditions.com.
7:02, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The latest college football rankings ahead of championship weekend dropped last night. Ohio State, Indiana remain at 1 and 2. Georgia and Texas Tech round out the top 4. And then it's Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU, and Miami that round out the top 12. On the outside looking in, it's Texas at 13, and then Vanderbilt comes in at number 14. In college hoops last night, Tennessee falls to Syracuse 62-60. Forward Jalen Carey had a game high 22 points off the bench. Tennessee drops to 7-2 on the year. Some other scores. It wasn't the SEC's night in the ACC versus SEC challenges. Duke beating Florida 67-66 and North Carolina beating Kentucky 67-64. Huge news yesterday for Vanderbilt football as they have flipped 2026 five-star quarterback Jared Curtis from Georgia to Vandy. Curtis, a Nashville native at Nashville Christian School, took to social media last night confirming his commitment to the Commodores, who now land their best recruit in program history. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on your Wednesday morning of Ramon and Will, live in studio, 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can subscribe to join the almost 20,000 of you who are 104.5 The Zone TV subscribers. All it takes is one click. You can even burn a calorie as you click the mouse, click the trackpad. YouTube.com/1045 The Zone TV. Coming up in 15 minutes, Vol for Life, Jason Swain, Vol Network analyst, along with Ramon Foster, will join us. He had quite a rant, and I mean that in a good way, on his show in Knoxville that we will bring here about Tennessee's loss to Vanderbilt.
Swain don't hold back, man.
No, he does not, and that's why we love him.
He does not hold back. He evaluates it differently. He sees it differently. And there's a lot of stuff that we talked about throughout the course of the year on the broadcast, man, that really, him being closer to the Vols program, you're like, oh, okay. So when Swain talks about it, I listen a little bit too. By the way, can I shout out to our group, man?
You can shout out whoever you want to.
It hadn't come out
by
yet.
your mom and them.
Brought to you by your mom and them and all the good people on the internet, man. But Awful Announcing does a lot of articles and stuff like that. They on social media and everything, man. And I found, it was sent to our group chat yesterday, they ranked us as the number 7th broadcast this year overall with the Vol Network.
Wow,
man. So
nice.
Pretty cool, man. I have to send it to you. Yeah, let me get the entire name of the list. For what it's worth. Awful Announcing's 2025 College Football Radio Announcer Rankings. So I'll send that to you real quick. Will.
Congratulations. That's great.
Appreciate it, man.
I'd like to hear the 6 that are better because doubt that. But, I can say that. You can. That's okay.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm looking
at it right now.
Yeah,
I just found awfulannouncing.com. There's 68 of these that are ranked. Wow. Goodness.
They gave us 6. We earned 6.
Number 1, Ohio State. Cal. Indiana, Wisconsin, Georgia Tech, Cincinnati, Tennessee. Hey, number 1 of the SEC.
Number 1 of the SEC,
Come
baby.
on.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was pretty good, man. So shout out to the gang, man. It was a lot of work. Yeah, I was a little surprised. One, I didn't know that was a thing, but the group was excited about this one, man.
New analyst Ramon Foster was described as a, quote, good addition.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Hey, we
I think you're a great addition.
I will say, if you find an article, you're going to say, we got 7 Fs. Who the hell were the Fs? I'm out here like Liam Neeson, okay? I got a particular set of skills. I will find you. Okay? All right? And not just that, boy. And whoever the C was, I'm going to figure out who you are too, man. But no, I joke, man. The
C's get degrees, just not in this service.
Not in this service, man. Striving to be better, man.
That's awesome.
Good for you. There for a second.
Liam Neeson, no.
I didn't realize how short college football season is.
Yeah, you're done. You got a bowl game, but other than that, you're done.
12 goals.
Sounds like you're headed to either Tampa or Jacksonville for that bowl game.
Jacksonville.
Let's quickly go to the phones. X in Nashville wants to talk Vols hoops. What's up, X?
What's up, X?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing this morning?
We're good. How you, man?
Good, good. First of all, before I even get started, now, Vanderbilt fans, y'all getting on my nerves. Y'all really getting on my nerves. Now, listen, y'all don't deserve to be in the playoffs, so we're gonna enjoy this bowl season together as Tennessee fans and Vanderbilt fans, because y'all getting on my. I can't even go to sleep without why ain't we in the playoffs? Y'all suck. Y'all had a good year, but y'all ain't ready for the big league. But anyways, man, last night I was watching the Vols basketball, and it's like my second game, and it's kind of like a trend with Rick Barnes. It's like, maybe it's just me and it's early in the season, but it's like even, what's his name, Amid or whatever his name is, the little freshman.
Amen.
It's like he holds them back from being like that offensive spark that we need, because when it's 60 to 58 at the moment. I think Boswell made the layup or whatever to tie it up. But if you look back 2 possessions before that, the guy number 10, I mean, whatever his name is, he had 2 open shots. And it's kind of like he hesitated and drove them in. And it's kind of like, that goes back to when we had the guy that went to the Celtics. We had that big group with Strode. And we had them. It's kind of like, we have that built of a team, and that team went far. Like, this team had great aspirations. They were just older. So now, like, Rick Barnes kind of, like, ease up on the old school mentality a little bit, man. This is a new generation. Let them boys, let him pull up from half court if he wants to. 'Cause he can do it. If you watch his highlights, he can do it. It's just like, but y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, X. Appreciate the call.
X came in with a hockey slapstick, man. Just,
I think they would love Nate to let it fly. Yeah, I don't think a lot of that is what he's being coached to do, X. I think a lot of it is Nate's got to shoot it when he's open and when plays are run for him. But he's got to pick his right spots. He's putting a lot of pressure on him.
He got to be comfortable in doing it. Yeah,
for sure. Yesterday, Bears head coach Ben Johnson talking to the media. Actually, this was Monday afternoon. Ramon, I think Chicago is a really interesting team to watch right now, because I see them as... Well, we talk about this a lot, of models for the Titans to follow. I see Chicago a year or two ahead of the Tennessee Titans. And the similarities in how Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears, and how Mike Borgonzi came up in this business, and the way those two work together in Kansas City, and the quarterbacks that those two teams have, Caleb Williams and Cam Ward, have a lot in common. Maybe not up between the ears, but maybe in just terms of how they play football. This week, Ben Johnson said that the Bears are 9-3, and they are, quote, winning in spite of our passing game. Saying, hey, our running game is so good, our offense, we are winning in spite of what we are doing through the air. Caleb Williams is last among qualified quarterbacks in completion percentage. Ben Johnson said preseason that he wanted Caleb Williams to be a 70% completion passer. He is not close to that, saying, I know what the stats say. Throw those out the window. He's doing a good job managing the ball game, and that's a step for that's step number 1 at quarterback. Number 8 in scoring, 6 in yardage, 15th in passing offense. Ramon, that is the number 2 rushing offense in the NFL. How open are you to following the Chicago Bears method of maybe trying and being okay with winning in spite of your passing game in the short-term future for the Tennessee Titans?
Well, you know me. We've been doing this show long enough, and you know that's what I've been saying. Cam don't have to be the show. He'll get praised because the team is winning. He doesn't have to be the show. And that was, I think, the attempt that was made by going and signing these offensive linemen, drafting them earlier in the draft, and, like, investing in the group up front. You went and got Tony Pollard. You said you was going to do a whole lot more with Tajay Spears. There were attempts there. You went and drafted a young quarterback and Gunner, right? And it's falling apart. I'm not sure if that's a Brian Callahan curation of what this team turned into, or they just not good. And I don't want to believe they're just not good. What Chicago is doing right now is allowing Caleb to be able to be in a position to where he's just, as his coach said, managing, not losing it. When they went and played against Minnesota, I think it was the first game of the year this year, he had some bad passes. But there were points in that game where we were just like, okay, yeah, do that thing. The way the Chicago Bears offensive line dismantled, and yes, I will use that word, the Philadelphia Eagles this past week, a chef's kiss. a masterclass. Oh, y'all also want to do the tush push? Well, we got a defense over here that can match that too.
Right.
Like that, to your point, is the process. You speak about Ryan Post. Ryan Post 2 years ago, that fan base was at his neck.
Sure were.
They were ready to stuff him into a corner. And he said, y'all shut up. Y'all let me do my thing. He went and got, Javon Dexter, Darnell Wright. Oh, he got linemen? You mean they matter? They can help a defense. They can help a young quarterback? Oh, and then you traded away some guys and you'll get Roma Doomsday also. I know he hadn't been great, but you put pieces together. You got the right amount of veterans. You got guys like Kevin Byard still around, right? Like, and also you benefit as a team when you win too. Like guys play better in those moments, and then you go find the right coach. Will, the process that you said is what I guess people looked at me as like, you a hater. Let Cam cook. No, Cam shouldn't be the show right now. Anybody that's been around the business will tell you that. What Jaden Daniels did, awesome in Washington last year. Coming to his sophomore year, that ain't real life. That's why everybody's saying let Cam roll out and throw down the field and have an outside-the-box offense. That ain't real life because that's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. Chicago Bears are winning. How again? Will, tell me slowly because I'm an offensive line.
They are running the football, and in their head coach's words on Monday, they are, quote, winning in spite of their passing offense. I think the lesson here for the Titans, and again, I know I've compared the Titans a lot to kind of the 1 year behind the Patriots, 1 year behind the Bears. I think there's certainly truth in both. I think what the Titans can't be afraid to do is use late round draft capital to acquire veteran offensive linemen for this offensive line next season. Because they've got holes, I think, at center and at right guard in 2026. The way that Chicago addressed that. And again, when you trade back and you get extra draft capital, you are more willing to use that draft capital to then acquire veteran players. They set a 2026 fourth-round pick for Joe Thuney at left guard. PFF's got him ranked 11th best guard in the NFL this year. Drew Dahlman, they gave him 3 years, $42 million at center. PFF says number 2 ranked center in the NFL this year. Jonah Jackson at right guard, they acquired him with a 2025 sixth-round pick. And then Darnell Wright at right tackle, that's J.C. Latham. A right tackle drafted in the first round, pretty high, who did not look the part in years 1 and 2. Who is starting to look the part now in year 3. He's not perfect. More than serviceable at right tackle right now for who the Chicago Bears are. When you surround a guy like that with veteran interior linemen and a run game, well, look at that. Now you're not in as many predictable passing situations. You don't have the ability to give up as many sacks because you're not in 3rd and 10 all the time. You're in 3rd and 4. Down in distance, run game, all of that also impacts the way your tackles are able to pass block. What are you asking your tackles to do? Are you asking them to keep an edge rusher from getting around the edge in 3rd and 11 when they know you're passing? Or are you asking that edge rusher to have to choose, all right, am I defending the run or the pass here? Because it's 3rd and 4 and they could do either one. That's how you help out Cam Ward in the offense. So I think that's the area that is interesting to me. And the pathway the Titans could go in here saying the best thing for Cam Ward might be less of Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. And I want to spend more time on this in hour 3 at 8:20. We'll do more of that coming up in hour 3. Jason Swain, former Tennessee wide receiver, part of the, we'll say it now officially, the best broadcast booth in the SEC, joins us coming up next.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown's disappearing, maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I've got good news. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class doctors, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where you want the hair. It's why Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I recommend them to everyone. Listen to me. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 629-348-HAIR. That's 629-348-HAIR. Visit our website at advancedhair.com.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. How is your home's heating performing? Even though the temperatures outside are dropping, Lee Company is here for you 24/7. Look, there is nothing more challenging than getting out of bed in the morning when all you can feel around you is cold air. When you're thinking to yourself, oh, the heating system did not make it through the night. As temperatures are getting down in the teens, in the 20s overnight here in Middle Tennessee, you need Lee Company, and you need Lee Company's professional team of technicians. They are now performing heating tune-ups and seasonal maintenances to keep your home running efficiently this fall and winter. Contact Lee Company's award-winning team online at leecompany.com. Keep your home cozy for the cold months ahead. Look, you know, if you've lived in Middle Tennessee for just a week, how unpredictable Mother Nature is. We'll get Lee Company out there to make sure everything is working the way that it is supposed to. That way, the next time Mother Nature throws you a curveball of cold air, of warm air, your house, your home, your heating system is ready for that. LeeCompany.com. Head online for all your heating needs. That's Lee Company, all you need. Ramona Will continues on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch with Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Adding another VFL into the mix, former Tennessee wide receiver in the Vol Network booth on the Sports Animal in Knoxville, a part of the #1 broadcast of the SEC, according to awfulannouncing.com. He is Jason Swain joining us this morning. Swain, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey.
Man, everything. What's going on, guys? Good to hear y'all. Good to be with y'all this morning.
Did you know that you were a part of the best broadcast of the SEC, according to a recent poll?
I had no clue, man. So all my getting coffee for Mike Keith and Ramon and Hubs has paid off.
Why are you this way? Why? Who raised you like this,
I hear more of
Swain?
Swain being in the stadium. Like I hear a lot of you as I'm making my way around Neyland Stadium.
You are not the coffee bean guy, man. What is wrong with you, Swain? See, this is what happens when you on this network acting like this, man.
Ramon, you know I like messing with you. You know I like having a good time. You know I'm petty.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, Ramon. It was funny, man.
No, I'd have did the same thing. I'd have said the exact same thing. You did as I did right there. The petty mobile never slows down, my brother.
All right, well, that's all of the good news and the happiness here, Swain. Let's talk about the Vanderbilt game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm glad we got our laughs out of the way now. What is your big takeaway? I know you talked about this on your show at length. I know you all talked about it on the Vol Network on Saturday as well. What is most concerning, Swain, just big picture about what Tennessee looks like coming out of this game Saturday against Vandy?
Well, first, I give credit to Vanderbilt.
Right.
What they've done with their program over the years. They've been a laughingstock of the SEC for years. The leadership there at Vanderbilt, has done that athletic program service, and I respect what they have built. But what I saw Saturday is kind of what I saw all season long. And it's been something that's been brewing for a couple of seasons, actually. And Saturday just kind of came to a head. But the truth is we're soft. Our football program is soft. And that's an issue when you're playing a sport that requires violence, that requires physicality. And the mistakes, the penalties, the self-inflicting plays that we've seen from this team all season long, that is a example of lack of mental toughness, which equals soft. The physical lack of toughness inside the trenches that was displayed on Saturday is another example of soft. And I know that word is disrespectful in the world of football, but I think it is fair in this case because we've seen time and time again when Tennessee plays a really good team how we have melted. We've beaten teams that are not good, but we haven't beaten a team that was good. And the only team we've beaten with a winning record this year is ETSU. And so the mistakes, the lack of discipline, the lack of physicality, I know injuries are part of the game, and sometimes it's unlucky. But, we had 5 guys go out with the injury, had to be helped off the field. Vanderbilt didn't have any. And I understand guys go into the game hurt and guys playing hurt this time of the year. But stuff like that matters. Ramon knows this, playing the game. Like, you never want to show weakness. Even when you're hurt, you don't want to have the game stop for someone to come get you. So, I mean, it just was a bad day for Tennessee, and it exposed Tennessee. And in a lot of ways, it's a good thing because now you can really look at what you're doing, understand that it's not good enough, and you can go fix it. And it's time for people to be uncomfortable. It's time for people to be truthful with each other and do what needs to be done and go do it because the schedule next year gets harder. There's a lot of things that have to be fixed. But when you lose to Vanderbilt, and this happened over the last decade too, people, heads roll, changes are made, and that's what needs to happen now with attitude, with the philosophy change, with the toughness adjustment. But that's what I saw this season. That's what I saw on Saturday. I hope that's not too mean for anybody.
No, I think it's perfectly said, Swain. And when you look at the reasons why this team has been, quote unquote, soft, like you said? I know there's more than just one, right? I mean, the 49% of your roster is freshmen and redshirt freshmen. A lot of that is natural attrition in terms of just losing transfers that everybody's going to deal with. But Swain, it felt like the story of this season was always going to be Tennessee chose to ride with the young guys that they recruited out of high school instead of bringing in veterans as stopgaps, saying, nope, we don't want a lot of these guys just having mass exodus of the portal. Let's just play them. Was that the right decision, Swain? Is that a part of this for you in terms of roster construction being a reason for some of these mistakes? Is it coaching week to week? Is it a mixture of things? What is the biggest reason you feel like Tennessee was soft this year?
The biggest reason is recruiting and development. I mean, that's really the biggest reason. That's where it all comes down to. And so being young is not an excuse, not in year 5. That is a year 1, year 2 deal where you play young players, you get young players in. But when you are in year 5, you shouldn't have a roster that's the youngest in the SEC. That means that guys that you recruited before didn't work out and you had to go in a different direction. So you really shouldn't be in this position. But because of the portal and because of NIL, you have the luxury of flipping the script in one season. That's a good thing here. That's a positive that we can take away from the situation. But you shouldn't be in the situation where you're playing that many freshmen at the University of Tennessee in year 5. Along with that, you had some in-game coaching. I mean, Clark Lee took us to school. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing you can say that he will say otherwise. And there's been several other instances where, in game we were taken to school. So you got to go get better. You got to go make some adjustments. You got to go get better players. I mean, it's not the players' fault if they're too slow to play. It's the coaches and the evaluators' fault for putting them in orange. There were times when Diego Pavia was looking around wondering if somebody's going to catch him and tackle him. And last time I checked, dude is not Lamar Jackson. And so that is an issue. When he's able to run for 171 yards and he's looking around going, damn, there's nobody around me at the University of Tennessee. That's I think, an athleticism issue, and you got to fix that.
Jason Swain with us this morning talking Vols. Swain, when it comes down to the soft component, like I know where you're coming from with that. What does off-season training looks like when you get some of that softness out, some of that timidness, some of that mentality that you want incorporated in your football team? Because it's one thing to say it's soft, but what's, in your opinion, some of the stuff that you've seen, heard, or would like for it to look like moving forward to kind of move past that? What do you mean by getting past that? How do you get past that for the people who are unfamiliar with correcting softness?
I like Josh Heupel. I'm a big fan of Josh Heupel. I think he's one of the nicest dudes ever. But I think it's hard to be super, super nice in this business, especially in the SEC at this time. I think the team takes on the personality of their head coach. And I'll give you some examples. Look at how sorry the Bears have been over the last couple of years, my Bears. But look at their coach this year and look at their mentality this year, how they were able to go into the Philadelphia Eagles and literally punk them and push them around. Yeah. Look at, and I know this is going to be a sensitive topic for my Titans fans listening, but look at Vrabel and what he has brought to the Patriots in one season. It's a mentality. And that mentality is built from your head coach. And the next important person is your strength and conditioning coach. That's the guy that's with the players the most. And you know this, Ramon, being at Tennessee, we had dude Johnny Long. Yeah. And our toughness was built in the off-season training. Weight vests, pushing you to the limits, and pushing you to physical limits. That way your mind has to play a part in you being able to finish. You're physically not supposed to be able to finish. It's your mind that tells you you got it because your body is saying no. But your mind is saying, I got 10 more reps. I got 10 more sprints. Because when you play at the Swamp or when you play at Alabama or when you play at Georgia, there's going to be times when your body says, I can't do it. And now you have to rely on your training from the summer to mentally get you over the hump. That's called mental toughness. The physical toughness is something that you're born with, something that you can be it can be developed with the right people around you. But that's when, hey, man, I'm about 72%. I'm hurt, but I'm not 100%. But I'm about 72%. You know what? I'm going to take this day off. That's a lack of physical toughness. So there's mental toughness and physical toughness that has to be improved, and it starts at the top, and then the strength and conditioning staff, they are responsible for the toughness at every college program. I'll give you another example. Mike Elko at Texas A&M. That football team took LSU's old strength coach, and now they're one of the toughest teams in the country. They will push your stuff in and make you like it. Here's another example. The moment Scott Cochran, Coach left Alabama wasn't the same Alabama. It's why Nick Saban suffered more losses towards the end of his career, because Coach Scott Cochran, was gone away from that program. Strength and conditioning program matter, and it's the most important element in a college football program outside the head coach.
You spin. You gave me PTSD with the Johnny Long sandpit, fireman carries, back to the sandpit, sprints, 31-10s. You better hit the weight room and don't miss. If you do, everybody's running. Okay, I'm moving on, Swain. We don't have to live that old life no more. But, all right, so I'm walking through the stadium after the game to go towards the locker room for post-game interviews, and I hear a loud crowd chanting, "Fire Tim Banks." What has that conversation at least been like, Swain, as you look at a 45-point loss to Vanderbilt, but not only just that, even last year, I know what it was, and the year before that, it was the offense carrying the defense, Swain. What is that conversation like coming out of Knoxville, since you guys at ground zero with that one? And I'm not advocating for firing, but the conversations come up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's surface level. I think it's low-hanging fruit. I think it is fair to have those conversations and feelings. I mean, Tennessee's defense was last in the SEC. I mean, that's duh, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing Josh Heupel has to figure out. His defense, since he's been here, his offense, since he's been here, has put his defense in bad situations because of the offensive style. There are times when we have 3 and outs and the time of possession is like 42 seconds. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough on a defense. Really tough. So Tim Banks has had to maneuver that during his time here. I'm not making excuses for Tim Banks. These are just facts, okay? The last 2 years outside of this year, so 2023, 2024, the defense has carried the offense. Mm-hmm. The offense carried the defense in 2021 and 2022. This year, we had a game, Mississippi State, where the offense was terrible, and the defense won that game for the football team. And so there needs to be better complementary football. That's been, I think, the biggest issue, where the defense, when they're not good, the offense is not good either. This year has been a really bad example of complementary football. Josh Heupel had an opportunity. If he wanted to change defense coordinators, he could have did that last year, because Tim Banks' contract was up and he signed a new deal. The problem was, dude was awesome last year. He carried this football program to the college football playoff with a soft schedule. So the defense was good. The offense had multiple games where we didn't score a point in a whole half of football. And so you kind of had to bring it back. And then when you bring him back, he had his worst year of his tenure here at Tennessee. So now if you want to get rid of him, you got to pay him a lot of money or hope that he goes out and gets another job and gets a fresh start somewhere else. But this year was unacceptable for Tennessee football. And the last game of the regular season proved that we couldn't stop a nosebleed against Vanderbilt. They did what they wanted. They punted one time, and they punted one time because they had self-inflicting penalties themselves. We didn't necessarily stop them. They kind of stopped themselves. And so that is unacceptable, and you got to fix it. It starts with the toughness, and then it starts with going out, identifying players that have the toughness, the physical mindset, the athletic ability to play in this conference and play at a high level in this conference. And then you have to do a better job of putting them in position to be successful. That's what you got to do.
Jason Swain, Vol for Life, Vol Network, Sports Animal in Knoxville. One final one for you, Swain, on the way out. And I know it's hard to compliment a Gator, but the new head Gator is someone you have known for a long time. John Summerall, the new head coach at Florida. You went to high school with him, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were high school teammates at Grissom High School in Huntsville, Alabama. He was a safety that wasn't the most athletic, but was one of the toughest dudes and our leader on our defense. Man, we had a historic run, a high school that never was really good at football at all. And we went toe-to-toe with Hoover and was one play away from beating them and having a chance to win state championship. But that was just a magical season. John was a senior that year. I was a sophomore. John went on to play linebacker at the University of Kentucky. Nobody offered him big because he just wasn't that fast. And so Kentucky was like, hey, we love the way you play. We're going to bring you in. He played linebacker, wore 44, had this neck collar, just looking disgusted. And just – man, he gave it his all, man, and then he got hurt, and then got into his coaching career. I am so proud of John. Our high school coach passed away of bone cancer around 2011, 2012. If he was alive today, he would be so happy and proud for John Summerall. I'm so proud of him. I don't even see the fact that he's a Gator coach. I just see a guy that I used to share a locker room with that I'm so proud of. So I hope he's successful. Obviously, when we play him, I hope we do to them what we did to them a couple weeks ago down in the swamp. But other than that, man, I'm rooting for him.
That's dope.
I love it.
That's
Great
dope.
stuff. Jason Swain, our guest. You get him about the sports animal in Knoxville, the Vol Network, former Tennessee wide receiver, a part of the best booth in the SEC. We're claiming that here in 2025. Thank you, Swain. Appreciate you as always.
Swizzy.
Hey, I'm sorry if anybody's mad. I'm just speaking the truth.
Don't ever apologize for speaking the truth. Why would you apologize for speaking the truth?
Because people are sensitive in 2025, Ramon. That's why.
Soft.
This is a non-sensitivity show. At least we hope.
All right.
Thank you, Swain.
Appreciate you, Swizzy. Love you, man.
Jason Swain with us here this morning. Preaching. Really, really good stuff. I don't disagree with a single word he said.
Yeah. He said a lot of quiet part out loud.
Well, Tennessee fans, it could be worse. You could be Penn State. We'll tell you why coming up next.
Synergex and Low T Center are the original MVPs of testosterone replacement therapy. They have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. Since starting, a lot of players have entered the field, but Synergex and Low T Center are the pros providing you with the most medically driven, results-focused, and winning approach to restoring the quality of patient lives through hormone care. Just talk to one of their patients, man. They will tell you TRT with Synergex and Low T Center has significantly changed your lives, so don't wait. Get into a center, get your test. You'll be wishing you did it sooner, man. They just do it well, man. I'm telling you, if you've been thinking about testosterone and notice that you're getting older, more tired, not motivated to do the simple things, and it's not just aging. It's a physical, mental change to your body, and testosterone can help you, actually. Real patients tell them every single day, man, they got their energy back. They're doing better. So the wife and them, hey, like newlyweds again, at the gym, crushing it. They just got the energy to just go about the day that they had in their younger ages. It's a simple fix, simple visit, and it's something that you can get taken care of today. You can go to one of the centers before 10 o'clock, or you can set an appointment, man. You can also go online right now at trtmvp.com. That's trtmvp.com. We'll be wishing you did it sooner.
Wrapping up the first half of the show on your Wednesday morning, halfway point of the week, halfway point of the show coming up. We'll talk Titans at hour 3, plus look at Vanderbilt's playoff ranking from last night. Coming up here in 15 minutes, 615-737-1045. 52 days have elapsed, Ramon Foster, since Penn State fired James Franklin. They are still without a head coach. And thanks to Crumble Cookies, Kalani Sitake's not going to be their coach either. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake telling the Cougars he intends to stay a Coug yesterday. On 3 First reporting that he was the Nittany Lions' top target to replace James Franklin. In the process, BYU is also preparing to commit between 10 and 15 million in NIL dollars on top of the revenue sharing commitments in place under the House settlement. Also, Kalani Sitake is expected to receive a new deal worth roughly 9 to 9.5 million annually over the course of the contract. Right now in the Big Ten, the Penn State Nittany Lions, who was the first big program, mind you, Penn State, to fire their head coach, have 6 commits. 6. Tennessee might get 6 guys to flip today. Out of the 18 Big Ten teams, Ramon, Penn State has the worst recruiting class.
You say 6. I see 4, according to Rivals.
Well,
right
then
now.
they had 2 more decommits since I last saw that tweet. Yeah.
I don't understand how Penn State got here.
Pat Kraft, you got blood on your hands, my friend.
Yeah, you do. It's criminal at this point. It's criminal in the world of college sports, man, to be the first one to fire your coach. I would almost say at this point, it seems emotional on how they went about it. It seems to me like either some boosters or donors were just fed up with what James Franklin was. And I get it. I've heard some people, even some of his former players, say that he's not the best of guys when it comes down to how he does his job, how he communicates. But let me tell you this. That's every friggin' college coach that you can imagine. Kirby Smart, I'm sure, is rough to deal with. I'm sure Clark Lee is rough to deal with at times. I'm sure I know Nick Saban was rough to deal with at times, from the boosters to the players to the fans. This is what happens when you think you are bulletproof. This is what you get when you're in a situation in which you feel like you have an immaculate plan to be the first ones to do something, because this is what other teams have done. This isn't the NFL, and you got to follow that game plan. We're talking about a university that deals in the world of young athletes, kids, if we can be quite honest with you, and they move as the wind moves. You're sitting right now currently with 3 commits with no sitting head coach, and you can't go hire a head coach. Like, they can blame Jimmy Sexton all they want to.
And signing day starts today.
It's going on right now.
Yeah.
Currently,
the fax machines around the country are working.
They do the fax machine just for nostalgia, man, and I love that. Absolutely. But what I'm getting at is this. That as bad as this is, I personally don't think they can just blame all of this on Jimmy Sexton.
No, 100%.
Not all of it.
They blame it on the AD, Pat Kraft, who fired his head coach 52 days ago without a plan. And maybe if he had a plan, the plan stunk. Get a new plan. Pivot. Do something. I mean, at this point, is Pat Kraft qualified to make this hire? No. Honestly?
If they were mad at James Franklin, they got to be mad at Pat Kraft right now.
100%. Again, we said it when he was fired.
We shouldn't know his name.
It wasn't
like this.
that James Franklin. Well, yeah, true. It wasn't that James Franklin was fired. It was when they did it. If you're going to fire somebody halfway through the season, you've got to have a plan. Kentucky fired its head coach Sunday and hired a new one Monday. You think they were firing Mark Stoops without knowing they had Will Stein ready to go? Absolutely not. They were ready. Kentucky's made a lot of mistakes. That's not one of them.
No.
I think they at least acted with intention, acted with authority. They had someone ready. It may not work out for Will Stein. Mm-hmm. I think he's a pretty good hire, to be honest with you.
Too.
These are the 10 teams that are in front of Penn State in the On3 industry
Can I just
rankings.
go and say something real quick, too? And James Franklin did them a favor by taking a job and offsetting his buyout money, too.
Yeah.
So they have that. It's not a money thing either. I just want to throw that in there before you go into – and I saw somebody on YouTube just say it's a hard job. Let me tell you, every college job. Memphis is a hard job. Arkansas State is a hard job. Missouri is a very hard job. Texas is a very hard job.
Penn State is a is a blue blood.
They're close to Penn. I mean, they're close to Notre Dame to me. If we're talking about how you just get access and favor. Okay,
sure,
all right. I just wanted to clear that up.
Right now, Penn State is ranked 128th in high school recruiting rankings at the moment. The 10 teams in front of them: Kennesaw State, Delaware, Hawaii, Louisiana Monroe, Coastal Carolina, Idaho, Navy, Army, Air Force, Southern Miss. You have to get a letter from a senator to go to 3 of those schools. And yet they still have done a better job recruiting high schoolers than Penn State has for this cycle. You are doing irreparable damage to what the next coach can do and work with by not having a plan and taking this long to hire somebody. Malpractice by Pat Kraft. Malpractice. You have basically punted on the 2026 football season with your inability to have a plan and hire a good coach. You may crush it in the transfer portal. You could sign 25 guys with all your money and war chest, and you might find some really good transfer portal players, and that's great. That is not a way to build a winner by only using transfer portal. Even if it's 80-20, that 20 is pretty important of high school recruits. And it is pretty amazing just how far things have gotten away from Penn State in a really short amount of time. So good luck. Hope it works out for you. Been there before. Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it. It appears that you are walking down a very, very dangerous road, Penn State.
And then on top of that, the portal opens up. And guys will leave. Yeah. I would at this point. I'm all for sticking it out, and everything.
It's been
else.
Open for them.
I know, but I'm leaving if I'm there at Penn State right now. What use is it for you for your career to stay at this point for a coach that's probably going to be not even the A or B guy? You're now at the D or F guy at this point, and who they're going to go hire. And then on top of that, if you mean to tell me to build a roster, they're going to have to overpay in the NIL. In the portal. Then damn it, I stayed. I want some money too. I want something. Give me a pay raise. And they're scheduled next year again, too. That always comes into play. Marshall, okay, Temple, Buffalo, Maryland, Michigan, Northwestern, Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers, USC, Wisconsin, and Washington. You can navigate it, but not if you ain't got no talent.
I hear Brian Kelly's available. Mark Stoops is out there. Chip Kelly, That's the market that you're shopping in at this point. Or you're just getting a coordinator who's probably not ready.
Chip Kelly wants to come and do it again. Answering these questions. You know what I'm saying? He's been run off. The way him and Brian Kelly have been run off as of late when their new jobs, they literally got kicked out. Not literally, but figuratively got kicked out.
Coming up, Vanderbilt is out of the college football playoff. We react to last night's rankings to start the second half of the show. Coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency at all. They're problematic for you, okay? Most of the time, what it will cost you if it get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you don't need. When you call Hiller, they're experts, and I do mean that. They're going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the actual price that you will pay to, no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. I've dealt with their techs, man. They're very professional, experienced, and trustworthy, and they're all background and drug screen tuned. They also walk into your house, they're going to leave it better than they found it. It's just the way they operate. Their motto has been, happy you'll be, the service is free. It's just how they do business. If you're not satisfied with the work they've done around your house, they would do all they can to fix it, or just say simply, okay, we'll deposit the money back into your account. It is that simple with them. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. If you want to learn more about Hiller or book with them like I do, simply visit the website at happyhiller.com.
8:01, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The latest college football rankings ahead of championship weekend dropped last night. Ohio State, Indiana remain at 1 and 2. Georgia, Texas Tech round out the top 4, and then Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU, and Miami round out the top 12 on the list. On the outside looking in, it's Texas at number 13, and then Vanderbilt comes in at number 14. But there is some good news for Vanderbilt football, as yesterday they flipped 2026 five-star quarterback Jared Curtis from Georgia to Vandy. Curtis, a Nashville native at Nashville Christian School, took to social media last night confirming his commitment to the Commodores, who now land their best recruit in program history. In NFL news this morning, help is on the way for the Buccaneers as wide receivers Mike Evans with a fractured clavicle and Jalen McMillan with a fractured bone in his neck are both expected to have their 21-day return to practice window open today. McMillan received clearance from his spine specialist on Sunday. Millen suffered a broken bone in his neck back in the preseason. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show in hour 3, getting started on Ramon and Will, 11-year NFL veteran, Vol Network analyst, in the best booth in the SEC. Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins playing the hits. 615-737-1045, the number. Is streaming the show live at 104.5 The Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. I have been getting tweets since September. Get ready to wear a Vandy jersey, buddy. Get ready to wear that Vanderbilt. Oh, you're going to look good in black and gold. You ready to wear the Vandy jersey when we make the playoff? Yesterday, that came to an end, Ramon Foster. Vanderbilt 14th in the college football playoff rankings. Bama 9, Notre Dame 10, BYU 11, Miami 12 for now. Texas 13. It sounds like Vanderbilt is headed to potentially the Citrus Bowl in 2025.
Salute to you. Because I know that would have been a dreadful day, Will.
A week? It was going to be a week.
Salute to you, man.
Won't be necessary.
It will not be necessary. I will say, again, and I've kind of said this enough, I thought 10-2 was enough to get it done. I thought 10-2 out of the SEC was enough to get it done, too. But my take from listening to the college football committee last night, as the college football game day guys were pretty much speaking on it too, is this isn't a process in which the best teams will get in. I think it is if you win and dominate like Indiana, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Georgia, but I also view this as an invitation to the most popular brands too.
It's part of it.
I think that's kind of shown its ugly head. You mentioned earlier this process will not last, especially if 2 group of 5 teams get in. It will not last because there's a hard conversation to have when you have Miami, who's probably capable of being in, Vanderbilt, who's capable of being in, Texas, who's capable of being in. Also, you mean to tell me Tulane and James Madison got in? Respectfully, I say that because that was also a part of the plan, too.
I'll stand for no JMU slander.
There needs to be representation for the group of 5, right? So if you get 2 of them and you got schools that have paid $20+ million for a roster, they got the national brand. They got the fans that will travel if that matters. But also people want to see good football.
That's how big change happens in the sport.
Yes, it is.
Stephen Godfrey has a phrase, a motto. College football hates a usurper. College football, when a new brand or a new pathway to success pops up, the haves quickly change the pathway. That way the have-nots can't get back in. College football loves to change the system and change the format and change the way all this works. When the programs with money start to lose spots and seats at the table to the programs without money.
Yep.
They use that money to change who really gets a seat at the table. If there's one thing that I am most confident about out of last night's playoff rankings, it's that we are going to have a different looking playoff in 2026.
Yeah.
No question.
Yep.
No question.
It is. I couldn't get any understanding. Heck, since they've been releasing the rankings, I ain't understand it anyhow.
No. They don't understand it.
And I don't want to say I don't understand because it's my job as somebody that comments on sports every single day to understand what that is. But legitimately, like looking at how they describe it, how they explain it, how they have a reluctancy to answer questions about, hey, but Miami has a better record or has a better win than what Notre Dame. Matter of fact, Miami beat Notre Dame. So does the head-to-head matter?
Only if they're ranked one after the other, apparently.
And then when you ask them simple questions like, hey, is there any bearing on how you rank these guys after conference championships?
Yeah.
And you can't give me an answer? We'll see next week.
Right.
We'll see next week is exactly what you said yesterday. Uh-huh. I might not be in a room talking about my team if I'm on the board for Miami.
That's right.
Well, we're going to go to lunch.
This is the downside of expanding the playoff to 12 teams. It is harder to differentiate between good and very good than it was elite and very good. There are not many elite teams in college football every year. It was easier to get to 4 because typically those teams separate themselves more significantly than the pretty good teams between 10 to 16. That's the issue you've got. And you have got a lot of teams right now between rankings like 9 and 15 where you are going to contradict one of your important areas of criteria to put a team in just based off of the competitive balance of scheduling. Schedules are so regionalized and so different from conference to conference. I don't know what BYU versus Vanderbilt would look like. I don't know what Miami versus Texas would look like. And those teams are in the same area of the country. Like BYU, 11-1, they've handled business, but what would Vandy look like against Cincinnati? They'd probably crush them.
Right.
And I think if you took all of these teams that are in the playoff, I'll give you this, Vanderbilt fans, nobody's going to want to play Vandy this time of year.
No.
With that system, with the experience, with 20-plus graduate transfers on the roster, like, I want to play Vandy if I'm Oregon, if I'm Ole Miss, if I'm Oklahoma. Like, with what I would much rather play BYU. Much rather play BYU. But that's not a part of this. It's not about who would you rather play. It's about the resume and the criteria the committee sets and changes every week. So I think the tough part for Vanderbilt is you have no wins over the current top 25. I got a lot of tweets about this yesterday. Nathan hit me up and said, so beating a team ranked to the top 20 so bad on their own field that they fall out of the rankings actually punishes you? Has happened to us all year, starting with South Carolina. All of y'all are full of it and have zero credibility left. Here's the thing, Nathan. South Carolina is not ranked because of the whole body of work. It's not just that you beat South Carolina and knocked them out. I know it's easy to make that comparison with Tennessee to say, oh, well, Tennessee's not ranked because Vandy beat them. Yeah, that's true. Tennessee also lost 4 games. It's not just you. Tennessee also missed a kick against Georgia that knocked them out. Tennessee also lost to Oklahoma because they couldn't take care of the football. They lost to Alabama because they had a 14-point swing. You didn't do that by yourself.
Tell them.
So, yeah, you're part of the reason why Tennessee is not ranked, but also Tennessee is also a really big part of the reason why Tennessee is not ranked. And the unfortunate part of it is Vandy got unlucky. You were unlucky. You were supposed to have a really hard schedule this year. You didn't. Some of that's under your control because you scheduled Virginia Tech. Some of it's not because LSU stunk. Missouri was inconsistent and had a backup quarterback when they played you in the second half. Tennessee ended up not being as good. This was a rebuilding year for them. Your conference schedule wasn't really that hard. So you have 0 wins over the current top 25. There are more worthy teams than there are spots this year.
Yep, it is. Here's the other part, too, that plays into Vanderbilt's control. Do it again. Hearing Nick Saban, I wish we had the audio right now, and I'm not asking Hawk to go get it, but everybody heard when Nick Saban said it at the time when he was on that College Game Day desk. He didn't believe Vanderbilt. I look at the back and forth that I feel like Jarrett Curtis had yesterday with deciding to commit, decommit, et cetera. Like, Kirby Smart and his camp probably in Georgia are going to change everything that they do about recruiting moving forward with young quarterbacks and stuff like that. Like, they lost to Vanderbilt. I'm sure it was a petty side to Kirby Smart that said, we can't lose to them. The reputation does have to change because, again, I saw in our YouTube chat just a second ago, somebody said, and Notre Dame need to get in the conference. No, they don't.
Why would they do that?
And I wouldn't.
Why would they do that?
Because their reputation is what it is right now. Notre Dame knows it does this. They bring dollars.
They've got a water slide into the playoff every year.
Every year. No, they do not. Like it. Alabama's getting the benefit of the doubt right now. Why, Will? Because the big elephant. Because of Nick. Miami's attempting to get the benefit of the doubt.
Well, and Bama also gets the benefit of the doubt because they beat Georgia in half,
and that's also true.
Which nobody has done in a while.
So, and that's the prove it part, too, that Vanderbilt has to do moving forward. And I've been there. We've all had situations like, dang, that's the last one you got? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I felt like 1 or 2 times. I hit free agency at the worst time. It was either a big guard market and nobody's looking for a guard. Like, I hate to say it's life, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Speaking of crumble cookies and BYU, but like legitimately,
right.
Do it again is what I would have to say. Jarrett Curtis helps this cause.
There was a really chalky month of November in college football.
Yeah.
Favorites won a lot of games. Unfortunately, one of the underdogs who won a game in November was Texas. And they jumped you because now Texas has... From when they played teams, which again does not always matter, but from when they played these teams, Texas had 3 top 10 wins this year. Texas has 2 wins better than Vandy's best win, and they beat Vandy. Of course they're going to be ahead of you. I know they lost to Florida. They also played Ohio State closer than anybody else has in college football this year.
It's true.
And the one thing the committee has been consistent on with teams is how balanced are you? Vanderbilt is an offensive team. I know they were subject to some injuries on the defensive line that hurt some of their defensive performances midway through the season, but in terms of overall balance, the offense is much better than the defense at Vandy.
Yep.
Again, I'm not saying that should matter. This is not my opinion. I'm simply echoing the opinion of the committee that has control over this. I'm not on the committee. Don't look at me. I'm just telling you what their thought process is. Their thought process is you have 0 ranked wins over the current top 25. That's not the best way to view this. That is how they have decided. They have decided to do this.
And here's the other part of it, though, too. This is my petty side coming up. If you can laugh about the Vols not having any ranked wins or teams that have winning records this year, the same happens with your judgment of the college football playoffs. It matters. Are Vols fans happy with 8-4? Absolutely not. Is the way they got to 8-4 sucks too? Yeah, no real competitive wins. Like go to overtime with Mississippi State. Like we can be real about that too. But it's also real in how the judgment of how you get into the college football playoffs matters. So like Miami's case is we beat Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
There is at least a conversation to be had about that.
And who these teams' best wins are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the way they said they would judge it, best losses.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Notre Dame plays a part in getting in, too.
Well, and then that's one thing that is also in Vandy's favor, you would argue, is that Vandy's 2 losses are to Alabama and Texas.
Yeah.
2 games they were in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And without some Pavia turnovers, they may win in Tuscaloosa.
Texas game is a little skewed. Let's be real.
But they were still an onside kick away from being able to drive and at least tie the game.
They also
I know that was really a blowout that they made look a lot closer late. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You still had an onside kick that would have allowed you to have the ball and maybe win it.
The best thing that has to be said, in my personal opinion, do it again.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to. And you have to be loud and very rambunctious about it, too.
Yeah. I tried to tell you guys. I hate to say I told you so, but I really don't. I told you so. There's no guarantee. We took 1 year of evidence about who gets into the playoff and applied it as general rules. There is never a guarantee that a 10-2 team in a 12-team playoff in the SEC is going to get in. This idea that, SEC 10 wins, you're always in. How many people forgot about the help that Tennessee needed to get in at 10-2 last year?
I still don't know how we got in.
Well, I'll tell you, Alabama lost in Norman, and Ole Miss lost in Gainesville.
Sure did.
That's 2 of the big reasons right there. There were other losses that helped Tennessee get in too, but Tennessee got help last year to still get in at 10-2. This is why the playoff will expand, which, again, I don't really love either. 615-737-1045. Cam Ward was very honest on Sunday about wanting to go for it on 4th down. He's maybe even getting more and more honest when he speaks about this. Yesterday, a Titans assistant coach backed him up. What does this aggressive mentality mean for the Titans offense in the short term and in the long term? How do they get the best out of Cam Ward and his aggressiveness? That's next. Buying or selling a home in Middle Tennessee is a big challenge, even if all of California wants to move here, right? Hey, it's Will Bowling. In this market, you need a local agent with years of experience and a proven track record. You need my good friend Bernie Gallerani. Just talking to Bernie for the first minute that I met him, you could tell his heart for Middle Tennessee is one of the many reasons why he's been so successful in real estate here. He's the only real estate agent recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank as well here in Nashville. And he is going to get you results. Bernie guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. There's no risk to you. Bernie Gallerani will let you out of the contract at any time. Bernie is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. If not, he will buy it from you. Some restrictions may apply. Listen, Bernie is the guy that you need on your side. Call him at 615-428-2644. You can head online to BernieGallerani.com. If you've been thinking about taking that leap of faith, take it with my good friend Bernie Gallerani. Online at BernieGallerani.com. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone continues on your Wednesday morning commute. Whether you are commuting from the kitchen to the living room, to the home office, Murfreesboro to downtown, or vice versa, we appreciate you making us a part of your morning. So Cam Ward really wants to go for it more on fourth down. If you ask him, he's going to tell you. I feel like I've seen some issue with this, some issue taken with this. I wanted to get your take on it, Ramon, as someone who has obviously shared locker rooms with NFL quarterbacks for 11 years, on the quarterback's role in making decisions, making game plan decisions, being aggressive. How much of that is needed? How much of it for a rookie is maybe needed to be quieted down a little bit? So after the game, when Cam Ward was asked about situations and going for it and taking the offense off the field, I feel like he's gotten a little more honest, Ramon, on how he feels about this. This was Cam Ward after the loss to Jacksonville on Sunday.
Did you try to make a case for going for it there on the 4th and 3 at the goal line there?
Yeah, we need to go for it, I believe. What do we have to lose?
Did you kind of make that point clear to Coach? Did you guys talk about it, or?
Oh, I talk about it really all the time. He knows my mindset as a quarterback. I want to go for it every chance, especially now with the, just what our record displays. And we just got to continue to be the aggressive team.
So that's Cam Ward on Sunday. Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holt spoke to the media for his weekly press conference yesterday, was asked about this, and had this to say.
Yeah, every player wants to be aggressive. And I think if he didn't want to be aggressive, I think that'd be a bigger problem. Right? I think you'd be like, oh, okay, the guy's just ready to just kind of hand it off. All right, let's get it. Moving on to somebody else. I'm happy that spirit hasn't been taken out of him. You know what I mean? And I think we go into every game trying to win the game, right? And you try to do the best decision to try to win the game. And obviously that has not worked out well enough, often enough here. But that's the attitude that's going to carry him forward. And, he should come out and be frustrated, but that doesn't mean we're going to change his decision or do something different, But every great player and every really good player in this league should want the ball and want the ball in their hands. And it's our job as coaches to try to manage the game the best we can to win it.
And credit to ESPN's Teron Davenport, who tweeted out that video yesterday of Nick Holtz. What are your thoughts, Ramon, about Cam Ward's honesty? And are you okay with his aggressiveness and wanting the football?
In my personal opinion, Cam makes no sense. None. Absolutely none. When you're talking about the operation of a team, offense, coaches in their careers, the players that he plays with, his teammates, offense, defense, and special teams, just legitimately makes no sense whatsoever. I understand the mindset, and it's cute. It's fun to have that go-getter gladiators type of thinking, but that ain't how you play football. It ain't. I understand that you are trying to be aggressive and show that, hey, I hadn't quit. Like, you can show it in different ways of not saying that, hey, we've given up. Like, going forward on fourth down, this isn't high school football. Your punters are paid to punt. Special teamers are paid to pursue and go tackle down the field. You go forward on fourth down and you don't get it. Where were they this past weekend? Were they like 50% on it or whatever it was, if I'm not mistaken? On fourth down, you put the defense in a bad situation. This isn't a team filled with 90 players. This is 53 and 46 of them are only up on game day. The bodies aren't available to you enough to sustain that type of living in the NFL. Cam goes on to say, I want to go for it every time. What he said, what do we have to lose? Injuries, bad play, obvious situations in which you probably are going to have to throw the football and your offensive line is kick stepping the entire time, kick sliding the entire time. You're not just you're not getting first downs on the first two downs or the first three. So what makes you think going forward on fourth is to be taken more serious? You got to have a little bit more success, number one. And then the other part too, you got to earn that mentality.
Got to earn the right to be aggressive.
You got to earn the right to say that.
Sure.
Let's start there first.
Sure.
There hasn't been enough, and I say this out of respect because this is what men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Your numbers aren't good enough as a team, as a player, as an offense to be asking for that. And I know the season is done, it's moot, it's done, etc.
1-11, yeah.
But you still have to be in a position where you're still playing football. Coach McCoy wants to still coach in this league, I'm sure, at some capacity. Bo Hardiger is still trying to find a pathway. These numbers, these stats are going to follow them. And if you go forward on more fourth downs, you just you ruin the conversation about how serious of a coach. Also, you let players just tell you what to do as a coach? Well, what about in 2025 when Cam Moore said you need to go forward on fourth down? You shouldn't have went for it right there. Analytics say we shouldn't. Like, you have to earn that, Will. Let's start there first.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point that Cam's mentality and mindset in a lot of ways is a positive.
It is a big positive.
Does he have to kind of earn that voice to get his way is what I'm asking. Or is he right?
A rule that's given unless you jump out on the scene like a Jaden Daniels. Even Jaden Daniels still. I've had really good rookies. Marquise Pouncey is probably the best rookie I've ever played with. You know what guys still even said to him? And coaches also. You should be seen and not heard. That little stuff you're doing on the football field is cute, and I love that for you. I love it for us as a team.
Yeah.
Give me more of it. Cam should be seen, not heard as much in these moments. Now, here's the thing, too. When you're this bad as a team, guys like him do have the ability to get loud. I don't know who's the offensive leader, and that's probably the problem. Let's start right there first.
He is.
He is.
He is the leader of the offense. There's no doubt.
I'm talking more about like the locker room, just environment.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just in shambles right now for the Titans, too, respectfully.
Yeah, you were in those locker rooms for 11
offense.
years. You're more than qualified to talk about it. To answer your question about the Titans on fourth down, they are 27th in the NFL, converting 44% of their fourth downs.
27th? Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be asking for. To your point earlier, that should be his mindset, but that shouldn't be his method.
I think the tough part for Cam Ward and wanting to be more aggressive is that the best thing about this team is the defense and trusting the defense. And so ending drives with a kick, whether that be field goals, punts, or extra points, and setting your defense up for success is the Titans' pathway to being competitive right now. I think the other part of it is staying in games and not allowing the score to get separated really early allows you to run your entire offense versus tear out half of it, because now you've got to hurry, you've got to throw it so much.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't have a really huge issue with their aggressiveness in this game specifically. I thought the 4th and 3 early in the game on the opening drive, you needed something to show for your success on that possession.
That's real.
You needed to finally get a lead to play with for this defense to try to feel some sort of momentum, some sort of confidence from. And I didn't have a huge issue with that super early in the game. Now, I do think the strategy is changing a lot of the NFL in terms of aggressiveness in the red zone, Ramon, because of the field position of kickoffs. Greg Olson has been open and adamant about this if you follow him on social media. If you kick a field goal and you kick off to the opponent and it goes into the end zone for a touchback, that team is getting the ball at the 35-yard line now. That is a big difference from what it used to be. Even at the 25, at the 30, you are essentially now, with good field goal kickers, 2 first downs away from the other team being in field goal range. True. So the risk reward of field position makes the decision to go for it in the red zone a lot different. That's where I think the Titans can make an adjustment in mindset. First drive, all right, Mike McCoy, I'm willing to give that to you. I would like to see the Titans go for it more inside the 20. I think that's where Cam Ward has a point. I think that's where he can make a statement to say, look, we get 3 points, okay, but then the offense for the other team is getting the ball at the 30. And we got 3 points to show for it. Why don't we try to go for 7, even if we don't get it? Well, they've got it at the 15 now. All of a sudden, they're 4 or 5 first downs away from being in field goal range. I think that's where, and you are seeing the Titans be more aggressive in those moments. Yeah. You're seeing them understand, against Seattle. Yeah. Went for it a lot. I mean, that's the game where Mike McCoy's coming to the podium saying, I was thinking about you guys when I went for it on these 4th downs. That's a separate issue. But I was like, I'm thinking about you guys. You're not going to be able to get me this time. That's where I think they've got to pick and choose their moments.
Yeah.
I'm never going to blame Cam, for being honest. But I do agree with you that this is where the Titans offense needs another veteran leader to take some of the heat off Cam to always have to be the spokesperson like this.
Yeah.
And to also put their arm around Cam and be like, stick to the plan.
Yeah.
When there's an interim coach and you've had 2 play callers, I get that the plan has changed enough where it's hard to stick to it. And it's hard to have a whole lot of trust in what the plan is when you're 1-11. That is where, again, the personality of whoever they bring in to be the next head coach is critical. Someone who can spar and talk back to Cam, I think, is going to be valuable. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, you would rather say whoa than sick 'em, to quote you a lot.
Absolutely.
But I do think
control that a little bit better.
I do think there is a personality of offensive coach that Cam Ward is going to answer well to, and it is someone who is willing to tell Cam no. Yeah. That Cam respects and is willing to listen to. I think that has become more of a challenge with an interim head coach.
Yep. I'm not belittling Cam's mindset.
Not at all.
Or his ability to, or his mindset of wanting to be aggressive. That's beautiful. But here's what I will also say about that too. You play quarterback. There's a different approach to the game at that position. There's different ways of how you get the answers that you want. We just spoke highly, and we brought him up a second ago, the Chicago Bears and how they're cooking right now in Caleb Williams' second year. He's just a trinket. He's an ornament on the tree.
Ben Johnson said in the media, we are winning in spite of our passing offense.
Yeah. But here's the unique thing about it. You're still watching him be able to show his talent and grow.
100%.
That's what's happening right now. That's what Ben Johnson is allowing to happen. He's allowing Caleb Williams to grow and talk to him on the sideline and be like, hey, that wasn't a great throw right here. We could, and still have success. That's the biggest detriment to Cam's rookie career right now is there hadn't been enough incremental success to where you can say, oh, that will work for you. Or this game, man, I only had 11 passes. Like I think last year we laughed a little bit at Bo Nix, or I did, having I feel like 11 passes in a game and they won a football game. Like, he didn't even did anything. He don't have to.
He didn't screw it up.
He still get the praise. When a production company's come into the city, they're still going to talk to you.
When you're playing against pro defenses, you get credit for just not screwing it up.
Yeah, you do.
At the quarterback position.
Yes. So when I say, Cam, your mentality is phenomenal, and I think there will be points where you have your Steve McNair, your Steve Young, your Patrick Mahomes moments. That's the mentality after you learn how to play the quarterback position is where I'm at. I'm great with the athlete. But I've said this the last 2 years since I was giving this information by somebody else. I'm cool with the attributes and the intangibles that you have, but give me a quarterback.
Yeah, are you a good football player or are you a good quarterback? There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Let's go to the phones. Adam is in Portland. Up first. Good morning, Adam.
Morning, Adam.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, so you're hitting it pretty great this morning, to be honest. And I'm sitting here. I'm in the YouTube chat as well, and here's the thing I keep coming back to, and I've never said this before. I think they should sit him the rest of the year. These coaches aren't going to be here. Nobody's going to be here. You're not getting help. You're getting killed. It's the worst offensive line I've ever seen. We beat that drum to death. You have no weapons. If we want to pretend like Kyle Manor and DK are good weapons in the NFL, I mean, they're young, man, and they give me hope for Bergonzi, but they're not weapons. And the run game, how far have we fallen that 60 yards is a good day for us? It makes me sad for Cam because I don't think he's getting anything out of it.
Right.
And, taking these beatings he's got to get in there and learn. What's he learning? What's he learning right now? I understand he's missing passes. I've just got a feeling that the coaches are not doing him any favors, but also, dude, Myles Garrett is going to kill him this weekend. This is not a good situation for him. And the more I think about it, I'm like, what is Brandon? Think about Mac, right? Mac you were just talking about what leader in the offense could go up and put their arm around. Steve McNair had 8 dudes that could do that for him. Bruce Matthews and Dice and Mace and that Mace was young, but he's always been that guy, Frank. And, just go right down the line, Benji Olsen. All these guys that can help him. Neil O'Donnell. Oh, my God, what a difference in backup quarterback that a Super Bowl quarterback would make for Cam Ward right now. So I say all that to say I feel like he is in such a situation right now. I would love to see him on the bench, and I've never said that about my quarterback.
Wow.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the call.
Understood. I get the caution, Adam.
I understand how you were arriving to that point. I just don't agree. I understand all the points you're making and your thought process. I just think that he needs to learn how to play NFL football. And the best way to do that is by playing NFL football.
The hope is you go through these bad moments so that you can appreciate them later, Adam, is what I would say. I think Cam's had a lot of bad moments already.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
as a teammate that see players go to IR and is like, hold on, we ain't going to the playoffs. You not playing today? Like, his teammates will look at him sideways. So, Adam, is what I would tell you. Like, franchise aside, and the decision of, I guess it would be Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker that make that decision. As a teammate, I would look at him sideways, and it'd take a whole lot for him to get me back under his umbrella if that was the case. If he decided, or they made him sit, yeah, Adam, that just messes up. That creates a bigger problem.
Yeah.
If you want the Titans to kind of take the ball out of Cam's hands so he doesn't screw it up, they got to change the scheme. They're last in the league in rushing attempts.
It's too late now.
But you can at least start to rush the ball more. You're last in the league. You're second to last in the league in rushing yardage per game, and you're bottom 10 in yards per carry.
I mean, the problem is if you run it on first and second down right now and you get 2 yards, you're in third and long again. You're in 3rd and 8.
I get it, but you're not really showing the attempt to change. You're putting the ball in his hands, so if he screws it up, you're saying, okay, well, he just screwed it up again.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to take the ball out of his hands.
I agree.
Try something
But
different.
here's the thing,
Nobody's
though,
trying
too.
something different.
Hawk, to your point about getting the ball out of his hands, they have with those quick screens, and then you have a small DB push Chimere Dike into Gunnar Helm for a stumble tackle for loss.
Right, but you also
They got it out of his hand.
You also saw a 1,000-yard rusher last year in Tony Pollard. They're not even giving him the opportunity this year.
They did on the first drive.
And then they got away from it for 8 straight plays after 3 for 36.
Exactly.
I'm just saying,
There's no
like,
consistency. I just don't like the scheme with Nick Holtz here.
The
it
problem,
doesn't make sense.
The problem, too, is that when the score is so separated so quickly, you are forced to abandon the run.
That's the part of it all.
So you're running out of time to actually have a comeback and give Cam a chance if you're running the ball when you're down 2 touchdowns in the first half.
The flow of the game this past week, got a 3 and out from the Jaguars. You go down long drive, and then immediately the Jaguars score. And then next thing you know, there's a fumble on kickoff return for the Titans.
15-3, just like that.
And now guess what we got to go do, Will? Sling it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, you've talked about this a lot. You got to take pride in run blocking.
Yeah, you do.
I don't see this offensive line
Wanting
playing
to finish.
nasty enough in the run game. I just don't. And that's on all 5.
It is.
It is. We'll get to Mike in Cleveland coming up, 615-737-1045. Rhett Bryan going to join us at 9 o'clock. More Titans talk on the way next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. That is the website right there, medicalhousecalls.com. And I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Ramon, what do you mean? Well, it's literally just that. You call or text Medical House Call. They will assess what you need within minutes. You can book your appointment with them right on time, man, right at that apparent time that you call them. Somebody will be coming to your house. They can handle everything from sicknesses, infections, injuries, in-home labs, testing, and more. For a flat fee, you'll get an evaluation, full exam treatment plan, and prescriptions if you need it. We're talking about different variations of treatment options. So mobile IV therapy, they can do that. If you're feeling down, fighting the flu, want to get past this cold stretch that we have right now, absolutely got you. As far as feeling fatigue, persistent illnesses or injuries, or difficulty focusing or being productive, there's IV therapy for you there also. They can do whatever you need. Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. They will come to where you are and make it very convenient for you. They're trying to bring back the concierge to medicine. And this is the company that will do it properly and right. You can go to medicalhousecalls.com, or you can call or text them at 615-838-2375. And make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will rolls on 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up hour 3. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Is Cam Ward's aggressiveness and honesty about wanting to go for it so much with nothing to lose a good thing? Mike in Cleveland is up next. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike. 2 hands on the wheel.
Yo, what's up, bro? What'd you say?
2 hands on the wheel.
Mike, am I going to see you for the first time this weekend?
Ooh.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks. Sorry I annoyed you with my friendship.
I mean, bro, when you get up, it's supposed to snow Saturday.
Let's go.
All right? So let me go ahead and prepare you. I'm a man that's been in this snowstorms all week long. So when I get a chance to stay out of them, I'm going to go ahead and stay out of it, partner.
You could have at least led me on, be like, yeah, maybe, let's do something, and then not see me. You just gave me a flat no.
Nah, don't even try to play me like that, because the moment I say it, the next time I call, where were you?
You know me.
Mike?
You get me, Mike.
Yeah. Mike's a liar. I even tweet like, this guy's a liar. So, I'm going to tell you the truth.
That's real. Fair enough.
Yeah. But, I mean, hey, man, if you want to see me, dog, just come on, just holler at me. We'll make a way somewhere inside of a building, but I'm good.
He ain't dealing with this.
But, let me get to my point, though. Yeah, y'all have been spot on. And, Adam in Portland, I did what he's saying, too, about sitting Cam. I don't agree with it either, but I think he had a valid point.
Yeah.
My question is I've been seeing some headlines where they like the locker room is out on McCoy. I think with, even with how they playing, especially towards the latter end of the game, it definitely looks like, they giving up. Shout out to Denard Wilson, man. So y'all was like,
Agreed.
Y'all disagreed with me, and some folks was laughing, but Denard, man, he done did the best. He didn't for real made lemonade out of straight lemon. So shout out to Denard. I wouldn't be upset to see him come back. Whoever gets the coaching job. But my question to y'all is, what y'all think about that? About the locker room being out on McCoy and Cam Ward's, comments basically just maybe solidifying like, they looking for something different. Because McCoy be looking like he out of it. And McCoy, the writing's on the wall. Homeboy ain't coming back. He ain't going to be in that building. So, I mean, what y'all think, man? Y'all think this locker room is out? Or is that just people, trying to get clicks? I'll holler at y'all, man.
Sure.
Stay safe.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call. What do you think, Ramon?
Yeah, I think it's easy to be out there. When you lose, this ain't the coach that Jeff going to play for next year. All right. This ain't Cam's guy. Do I think the effort is there? I'll explain it this way since y'all talking about Cleveland. There'll be guys that we be playing in weeks like this, 5 weeks to go. Bro, don't get me hurt. Like, this is what they're telling you. So if that's the mindset of just, I don't want an off-season surgery, yeah, it's easy to be out on the coach, man, that's not going to be your guy next year and you feel like hasn't taken that next step for you in his interim session.
It did feel to me like there was more talk about culture in a negative way on Sunday than what we've heard a lot of the season. Jeffrey Simmons saying we've got to change the culture around here, I think is significant. Maybe that is a comment on leadership. Maybe it's a comment on coach, on young players, whatever Jeffrey Simmons means. I won't put words in his mouth, right. But the words he said were, we've got to change the culture around here. And we weren't hearing that a month ago.
No.
We weren't. So whatever conclusions you want to take away from that, I think are fair. You know what? Maybe he doesn't mean Mike McCoy. Maybe he does. I don't know. I'm not Jeffrey Simmons. You'd have to ask him. But I do think that is what is interesting to me, is that you are hearing players more honestly talk about locker room culture and all these things in a negative sense.
All I would tell Titans media, man, get to the locker room quick. Them boys going to be so out after the last game.
Yeah, right. CJ is in Nashville next. Hey, CJ.
Morning, CJ.
What's going on, big dogs?
Not much,
morning.
Man. Good morning.
Look, I think one of the biggest things that these coaches make the mistake of doing is saying these 4 words to a new quarterback: this is your team.
Mm.
And on top of that, we need to pray for old Cam because I don't want him to be steaming, Willie beaming. I'm gonna get some T-shirts made with that on it. But I don't want him to be steaming, Willie beaming. I want him to get his confidence and keep it in check, and I want him to keep his boys with him. I don't want no negative. We got enough negativity already with the losing, and I know it's frustrating for him. But you're just gonna have to hold on and kind of just ride it out, man. Because just like when Michael Jordan came to the pros, they had to put quality players around him, put Scotty around him, and all them, and they start winning. That's what they're going to do for the Titans. I'll jump off here and listen. Y'all
CJ, what do you mean by steaming Willie Beeman? Like the way he was super aggressive? Like on, what was it, Any Given Sunday? Or Jamie Foxx role, I guess, where he took over the team and became overly cocky. I was trying to figure that one out right there. I don't know.
Yeah, Any Given Sunday. Jamie Foxx. Yeah, I mean, when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, it's their team, like it or not. And when you signed up for Cam Ward, you signed up for this. It's part of why they like him. Cam Ward walks in, and it's his locker room. There are growing pains associated with that I think are worth it in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Cam's got to learn how to speak up in the right way, Ramon, publicly in the media. That's okay. It's part of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. I just think it means that it's part of his learning curve as a starting quarterback of the National Football League, how to relate to millionaires, how to relate to professional athletes versus his peers and running the locker room in Tennessee the same way he did in Miami. You just can't do that. And they have got to find a coach who Cam respects, who is willing to tell Cam no. And that's okay. But also willing to tell Cam yes and tell him good job. Like, it's not just no.
No, right.
Cam is not a problem. Like, I'm not saying he's the culture problem. I'm just saying that, like, he's a young player, and this energy, this fire, doesn't need to be a bonfire. Let's keep it on the firewood and not burning down the whole house every now and then. Good problems to have, in my opinion.
It is.
This team has a lot of bad problems to have. I think this is one of the good problems to have. That your quarterback is such an uber competitor.
Rather say woe than sickle.
Totally agree. We've had quarterbacks here that have had the inability to speak up. I would rather have this than that. I love Marcus Mariota. Right. Marcus Mariota is a great dude. Marcus Mariota was not half of the vocal leader that Cam Ward is. There are different ways to do it. There's not a right or wrong way, but it's just the reality of it. Mm-hmm. Different kind of guy. Different kind of personality. I'm okay with this personality. There are just things you've got to grow in to be this kind of leader in the NFL.
More good fortune. And it starts there first.
Brett Bryan joins us coming up next.
Whew.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, No open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas. If only in my dreams.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
.902, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The latest college football rankings ahead of championship weekend drop last night. Ohio State, Indiana remain at 1-2. Georgia, Texas Tech at 3-4. And then it's Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU, Miami that round out the top 12. On the outside looking in, it's Texas at 13. And then Vanderbilt comes in at number 14. In NFL news this morning, help is on the way for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as both wide receivers, Mike Evans, who had a fractured clavicle in Week 7, and Jalen McMillan, who fractured a bone in his neck back in the preseason, are both expected to have their 21-day return to practice window open today. And breaking news this morning, on 3, USF is expected to hire Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. That was reported just a few minutes ago. Hartline replaces Alex Golish for the Bulls, who took over for the Auburn head coaching job. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will, hour number 4, fourth quarter of the fastest 4 hours on these radio waves. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, our producer, Rhett Bryan in studio. I'm Will Bowling. I had a buddy, I was just telling this story in the break. He usually listens at the fourth hour. Oh, wow.
You got buddies.
Okay.
It was a free one.
He won't mind me saying this.
These were shoes you made fun of when I was a kid.
My buddy Andrew, who
make your feet feel fine.
Who I ran cross country with in high school, who would always tell me the story. He's like, he went to Texas his freshman year. And when I knew that he was having trouble at Texas, he transferred after 1 year. And he texted me during his freshman season. He said, Will, these people are weird. I was like, why? They don't hold up 4 fingers at the end of the third quarter. This is different. This is not the SEC. We hold up 4 fingers at the end of the third quarter of this show. Fourth quarter of the show. What's up, Brett? Good morning.
Good morning. I didn't put my headphones on yet when you opened this hour, and I was like, golly, he's loud.
Why are you yelling?
How far? I'm like, what in the world?
Well, I am loud in general.
He's just amped up, though.
He got that Rhett boost, man. You walk in here, you got the Rhett boost. That's what it was.
That was on my report card a lot.
Well, I'll be dog.
Talks too much, too loud, distracting, all these things. Yeah, no, I've been told that.
I've written a few write-offs on the old chalkboard. I will not talk in class.
I've actually done write-ups on the chalkboard before as a kid. Like, they don't even do that anymore, do they?
And
now they have smart boards.
Yeah, I was going to say, all the youngsters that are listening to the show this morning go, what's that? Doing write-offs?
Oh, man, it used to be a privilege to be able to clean the chalkboard off, too. You guys want to clean the chalkboard?
Oh, how about this, though? Clean the erasers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you get to go outside the door right there and clap them together, clap them on the wall.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Take about 20 minutes. I think they're good and clean now, Red. You can come back inside. Dang it. Wanted to miss more class.
I'm telling you, man. I used to think the whiteboard was the best, though. When you went from the chalkboard to the whiteboard, the dry eraser markers, that was the best. Then you had kids sniffing the markers and stuff.
Oh, hey. Hello.
Wow. Only time I ever really had the chalkboard thing is when you go to the Red Boiling Springs school there in here in Middle Tennessee, like the old one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah.
You go for a lot of field trips and stuff, and you put your nose in the chalkboard, like they make a little circle.
Yeah.
Tell you how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is when they would make you wear the dunce hat and sit in the corner.
Exactly.
What's crazy about the sniffing markers thing? Dan Crayola made blueberry and strawberry smelling markers and stuff.
I remember one of those.
Yes. What? Get it together.
Wild.
Get it together. What an error.
Where are the responsible people?
I'll tell you one thing that just happened a little bit early this morning. I was just telling Rhett this in the break because Rhett Bryan is an alumnus of Oakland High School.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots taking on Ravenwood this weekend in the 6A state championship game, Saturday night in Chattanooga.
Big O, here we go.
We'll be watching that one maybe on a phone in Cleveland this weekend.
Yes.
Lucas Panzica, Josh Corey on the call. Oakland High School's Joel Wyatt signing with Tennessee this morning. There was some speculation that he would wait to sign, that Lane Kiffin and LSU are getting back in the mix. That speculation put to rest.
That is a big, long, fast prospect.
Isn't he like 6'3", 6'4"-ish or something?
And he's,
You know what I think
that's a good one there.
Respectfully. Doesn't he play secondary?
Yes, safety.
Yeah, safety.
So, conversation
6'4" safety.
I'd heard through the boards and stuff that, you want to kind of move him down into the box, make him an edge player.
A Leo.
Yeah, a Leo. Vols need safety help.
Yes.
I bet he got his way.
It's funny. Rhett and I were just talking about this off air because you were out of the studio for a second. I literally just got done telling Rhett, he may start in year one at safety as bad as Tennessee needs safety.
You've seen him and you've seen him too. Well, he's like that, right?
Yes. I called his state track meet last May, and just seeing him move at 6'4", different. There's not a lot of, God does not make a lot of human beings at that height that
To which I
move
said
like that.
he's built in a laboratory.
Big USC. Was it Taylor Mays that was that big back in the day?
That sounds
at
right.
USC, yeah. Taylor Mays was, I felt like that big.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah, Taylor Mays.
You're absolutely right. Taylor Mays.
A current
at USC.
example would be like
6'4".
Reek Willen in Seattle.
Yes.
Kyle Hamilton.
James Williams before the linebacker.
Kyle Hamilton in
Kyle
Baltimore.
Hamilton.
Kevin Winston Jr., the Titans kind of version of that, they hope, of a long, lanky safety.
Started off hot this past weekend. Sure did.
And brought him down as a big nickel in that deal. So,
well, we are headed to Cleveland this weekend. We'll talk Titans and Browns and take a look at the matchup and the challenges Cleveland can present to Tennessee on Sunday. Rhett, we just got done talking about Cam's comments on Sunday about wanting to go for it on fourth down, the way that he's wired. Nick Holtz yesterday saying, I'm great with that. I'd rather have somebody who really wants to be aggressive and wants the ball versus not. I think it's interesting right now with Cam and his place of leadership in this locker room, just how honest he is. When he is asked, do you want the ball? Do you want to go for it? He's not sugarcoating anything. He's saying, what do we have to lose? And you would rather work with that, in my opinion, versus someone that doesn't want the football, for lack of a better term. I've never met a quarterback who doesn't want the football at moments like that.
Let me say this.
What?
Someone is laughing very loudly in another studio.
Oh,
This is like an airlock studio. Like,
Did I say something? What did I say?
Somebody must be using a megaphone
right
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you got your soundproof headphones in right
do.
now. We heard that. It was loud, wasn't it?
Lots of,
A lot of
exuberant laughter.
Anyway.
So, yeah, look, here's the thing. If you've ever been around him in any sample size, you will learn very quickly that Cam is a ridiculously fierce competitor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of who he is. Look, whatever he said at the podium, and I've heard it, and I don't think it's anything that's, a slap towards the coaching staff or any of that. It's just his desire. He wants to win. There are two people you can go unquestioned want to win on this football team, and all of them do. But he's one, and the other's Jeff Simmons. I mean, you're like, yeah, I wonder if that guy wants to win. You don't have to ask any of those questions. Right. Like, it's pretty evident. And this is why, for the future, whatever the coaching search ends up looking like, I would think that it would be a veteran coach with tenured experience that can, because listen, you're managing 53 different personalities. Yeah. And I can't imagine what that's like. But Cam listen, he's got enough water in his bucket now. I mean, all of these guys, let me just say this. There have been 13 rookies contribute to this team. And like we talked about last week, that's 25% of your roster. More than that if you count just who's active on game day. These guys aren't rookies anymore. They've played so much now. You get to the point where you're down this stretch, they're not rooks. They've got snaps that are aligned with vets in other cities and teams. But there's growing pains with that too. And I think that's part of this.
It is. When you look at the conversation about who you bring in and the veteran side, how much of this do you look at Jeff? How much of this do you look at Cam to make those type of decisions? Because again, to your point, Will and I brought it up too, the respect factor of making guys believe, right? You mentioned it must be hard to manage 53 people on a roster, 90 in training camp. Like, that's the biggest part of the job, to be quite honest with you. People management, getting guys up for games, keeping guys engaged, not losing the locker room, all the stuff we speak about that sound controversial, but like, that's one of the biggest parts of the job right there too. I can't imagine what this search, the detail, and the Titans are going to have to go for to keep guys believing again. Because Jeff's kind of been through this belief packaging 3 years in a row right now.
Yep.
So that's going to be paramount that they kind of hit that one on the head.
And I think it just depends on what the coaching search ends up being and what philosophy, whether it's a defensive coach that brings in a really good offensive coordinator or whether it's an offensive-minded coach that brings in whatever. Like, that's going to be part of it. when you're talking about you have a strong-minded, wants-to-win offensive player who's very young and a vet who's the defense and the unquestioned leader of this football team that wants to win as well, and knowing that, coaching philosophies, a lot are the same, but when you're talking about offense versus defense, there's a little, there's some parts that move there.
It's fascinating, too, because the difference in two leagues, I feel like we get aggressive offensive coaches in college. I'm trying to think off top. Is there an aggressive offensive-minded NFL coach? Is Andy Reid considered that?
Yes.
He is?
As much as they go for it on fourth down, I think Eddie Reid would.
I would think Sean McVay would be that, too.
McVay.
Right?
Yeah, I would, too. Cliff Kingsbury?
Cliff.
Washington?
Yeah.
Less so this year because they've had, unfortunately, Marcus.
And that goes back to college with the air raid offense and all that stuff, too.
That's true, too. Yeah. Just thinking out loud, like, who are the aggressive offensive? Zach Taylor, not really, right?
That's not what I think of him first.
Right.
No. Yeah, I think it's fair. We'll talk about the Cleveland Browns coming up with Rhett Bryant, how the Titans match up with the Brownies, as I'm starting to lose fingers and my toes thinking about it. With Rhett Bryant in studio. More with him coming up next.
Wow.
Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone continues in the fourth and final hour on your Wednesday morning commute. That means Rhett Bryan is here in studio. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins spinning the hits with the band that Vince Gill is the lead singer of.
There's
right
nothing
now
we can do.
That's right. The Eagles. Shout out. Titans and Browns.
Hard egg tonight.
That's right. This weekend, I was waiting for Ramon to have some comment of like, this Bon Jovi?
Whoa, hey, easy on Biggie now. Come on, man.
This I broke you on that one.
Wait a minute.
I'm trying to pick up what you're putting down. I really, you know me because my mind was spinning there.
Is this Bon Jovi? Come on, man.
Did you know who that song was
Eric
by?
Clapton. I was trying to scan.
Is this Eric Clapton?
See, I wasn't wrong. It's because you know I'm right. I actually got you to drop your head down to the table.
Wow.
I legitimately was just like, let me think of something that I would say.
And I knew exactly what you were doing. And I know you couldn't think of a band. So I put one in there for you, and I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were.
Okay,
I'm not going to be disrespectful to them. I like the music.
Journey?
I just don't know all their music like that. Yeah, I listen. I don't learn sometimes.
You know what?
That's a long time.
You know what used to really make Glenn Frey one of the lead singers of? I'm going to give it away, but the Eagles.
Yeah,
they're not the Eagles. They're just Eagles. They used to make Don Henley and them very angry. Probably still makes Don Henley's kind of an angry.
Was it
fellow.
a separation of the team versus the band, or
I don't know what. I don't remember the origin of that, but if you'll look at their albums, it doesn't say the Eagles. It just says Eagles.
Oh, okay. Good to know. I never knew that.
But it sounds weird when you go, hey, coming up in this hour, a double shot of Eagles on a 2 for Tuesday. It's like, what?
Well, let's do the same thing with the Titans. Browns. This weekend in Cleveland. Rhett, what is the coldest game that you have broadcasted with Titans radio?
January 2004, divisional round of the NFL playoffs, Foxborough, Massachusetts, Titans and Patriots. I believe it was 2, 3, 4 degrees at kickoff, and it was the late afternoon kick, so it was dark for the better half of most of that game. And wind was probably 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, so the wind chills were probably negative 20. And I think it finally, at the end of the game, got down to somewhere around 0 or less in actual temperature. And I told this story to Taylor Zarzer the other day. So their radio booths are all together in the lower concourse from the 30s going to the 50. It's not up high. It's kind of a different setup at Gillette. And I go out in the hallway where they have food for us or whatever, and they had clam chowder as an option and also hot chocolate because it is a brutally cold game. So I get a large hot chocolate, bring it in, and set it down. Steve McNair and the guys go on a long drive to start the third quarter. And I can't even remember how many plays, but it was a typical old ground and pound kind of Titans drive. Finally, there's a result at the end, and I pick up the hot chocolate, and the top third of it is in ice. It's one of those science things.
Yeah.
Everything extremely hot becomes extremely,
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world is this? And I mean, you layered up. You couldn't have enough layers. You couldn't have enough hand warmer. Like, it was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was that by far. And then back in December of 2016, when Ryan Suckup kicks the field goal from the Arrowhead.
Standing on the Arrowhead at Arrowhead.
Yeah, it was probably 4 degrees by the time that thing was done or whatever. I mean, that was pretty cold.
Kicked a brick 50 yards.
That didn't affect me because the windows don't open at Arrowhead, so we were good there. But windows open at Foxborough, different story.
I remember I was covering a Tennessee-Gonzaga game in Bridgestone Arena while that was happening, and I was watching on my laptop at the media area, and I was clearly behind because there was a roar in the concourse of Bridgestone Arena. And I'm looking around like, oh my gosh,
hit the
did we
field
win?
goal?
And then I saw it about 10 seconds later, Suckup hit the field goal, and like, oh my God. It was actually it was a cool way to celebrate that with so many Tennessee fans who were Titans fans that weekend.
And Cleveland's done a better job of building that stadium up to where that wind doesn't go all the way in. Like I think they've closed it off since like I played in 2009. Like no, that swirl's still gonna happen.
They put more seats in the dog pound on that end. Yeah,
they did. And I'm looking at the coldest game that I played in was my rookie year in Cleveland. It was Thursday night football when they only had like 4 a year, I think is what it was at the time. We played on Thursday night. We were favored by 10 points. Well, it was -10 was the money line. 15 degrees. Wind speed of 25 miles per hour.
So the feels like temperature is like 0.
Wind chill was -6.
Hello.
Okay, and on top of that too, Will, we lost 13-6 that night. I remember that was one of the first times in a game where the ground was frozen.
Yeah.
You could hear cleats click. Like guys on special teams couldn't even run. Like it was. I ain't trying to scare you. Yes, the hell I am. I am trying to scare you.
Wow.
It's all right.
What I'm saying is this. It's just different. And then it's intimidating driving into that Cleveland Stadium, too, because that lake acts like an ocean. So, like, you'll see the water, like, hitting up against the rocks and, like, making waves.
White capping a little bit.
Yeah, white capping. Yeah, you'll see that.
Yeah.
Have fun, man.
I will. Absolutely.
So I'm looking at the forecast.
I like that you like this.
Doesn't look
You
like
sick
there's
of it.
as much chance of snow as they first talked about, but I mean, lake effect, and if the moisture's right in the air, I mean, it's going to happen if it wants to. But high of 34, low of 26, and winds out of the west northwest 10 to 15. And look, we discussed your attire.
Yes.
You've got it handled. Have you gone to acquire the other items that you?
That is on my list today.
Okay, good.
On my list today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be smart.
Because you're going to Chattahoochee towards the end of the week to do some high school
tomorrow morning
championship.
That's right.
So, but yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And
so
we'll have the windows open upstairs. So
it'll be good.
Time. Won't be alone, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Weird things happen in this stadium, and the weather sometimes being a part of it. I know the weird thing that's happened for Cleveland this year at home was their win over the Green Bay Packers in Week 3. It obviously wasn't that cold then on September the 21st when they beat Green Bay 13-10. But Rhett, I think the headline on Cleveland obviously starts with Myles Garrett and starts with this defense in that when you have a game wrecker of that magnitude, anything could happen on any given Sunday because he is the best player on a defense in the National Football League right now. And honestly, Red, I'm not sure there's a close second.
So just thinking about this week and what a dominating player he is. Think about his time in the league. He's got 121 and a half career sacks. It's still just a tick or two less than 80, but he's that much less than 80 away from the all-time sack record that Bruce Smith set at an even 200 quarterback sacks. Like he could, if he doesn't have a major health issue and wants to play that long, he could probably get to that. Yeah. Now, that's a lot. That's saying a lot. But you're talking about a guy's top 5 in quarterback pressures with 57 right now in the league, and then obviously the 19 quarterback sacks. That record, single-season record, is shared by Michael Strahan and T.J. Watt at 22 and a half with 5 games left. And if the wheels don't fall off and he gets hurt or whatever, he's not only going to surpass that record, he's probably going to crush it, which is just crazy to think about. And single sacks in a game in history, obviously that still belongs to the late Derek Thomas of the Kansas City Chiefs, November of 90 against Dave Craig and the Seattle Seahawks at Arrowhead that day, and sacked him 7 times. The closest anybody's come to that in recent history has been Khalil Mack with the Chargers a couple of years ago, had 6 one night in a primetime game. But the guy is, you have to account for him every snap that he's out there. Coach Mack and I were talking about this last night on Mack Talk. And he said, listen, you can't single him. No. You got to have somebody doubled on him. Cam's got to get rid of the football. You cannot get behind the chains like they've been doing. And then if you can establish some type of a run game, you can stave off some of that. But he's still a dominating. Now, I'm interested to see the dynamic of where because he can play all of those spots in that defensive front. And Jim Schwartz is going to, trust me, he's going to have him pin his ears back and coming towards Cam and those guys. Malik Collins was having a fantastic year at tackle right next to him. 6.5 quarterback sacks. and he had a quad injury last week and placed him on IR first part of this week. So I'm interested to just see what that front looks like, because they'll move him inside. He'll move. Right. Schwartz will move him all over that front, and he's played that way his whole career. He play in and out.
What is he? 6'4", 270. Like, he's not a small guy. Like
he's one of those you go, oh yeah, he was the first overall pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you go, oh, that's exactly who he was, because that's what he was at A&M. Right? Like he's been that guy for forever.
He has, and last week he generated 7 pressures and his league-leading 19th sack of the season on 31 pass rushes against the 49ers. Yeah.
Did you see the sack, though, on who it was? It was Trent Williams.
Yes, Trent.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next stat.
Future gold jacket.
Yes, he is.
Right?
He's a walking gold jacket.
Myles Garrett generated 5 of those pressures and his sack against Trent Williams across 14 matchups. Trent Williams allowed 9 pressures in this game. That is his second most in a football game since 2018.
And again, gold jacket for that guy in the
100%.
future. How about this stat when it comes to Myles Garrett's career year he's having? He has, let me see where this is. He has had 16. Yeah, here we go. He's got 15 in his past 6 games. That's the most by any player in a 5-game span since quarterbacks became an official stat in 1982.
Wow.
I mean,
enough said.
They could have given him $50 million and nobody would have batted an eye.
And here's the thing, that of all the things that Cleveland has been knocked for in recent history, he wanted to be moving on, and they said, you ain't doing that. Well, that looks like the smartest decision they could have made.
It is. They gave him a number he couldn't refuse. And that's smart on them. At some point, I'm guessing they're hoping also that they can make this happen. Maybe they found their quarterback of the future, Rhett and Shadir Sanders.
Well, let me say this, and I'll finish up with the defense. So Carson Schlesinger, their other higher draft pick, the rookie from UCLA.
Yep.
He's a leading tackler. He's done a nice job at the second level at defense. They have very high former draft picks in that secondary, and Jim Schwartz is working it. They're top 10 to top 5 in about 8 different defensive statistical categories. And so, that's what keeps them hanging around in these games. Shadur Sanders get ready for start number 3, and he hasn't done anything super spectacular. He had a pretty clean game considering, against the 49ers. I think they sacked him 3 times. The big thing is they've had ball security issues like Cam has. I had four fumbles, lost 2 of those last Sunday. The big thing with their offense is they run 12 personnel more than anybody in the league. 1 back, 2 tights. And it's evidenced by the numbers, because you look at what Jerry Jeudy had last year. He had 90 catches for 1,229 yards. He only has 35 catches for 421 yards through 12 games. And that explains easily why Harold Fannin Jr., the rookie from Bowling Green, and David Njoku, the vet, are 2 of the top 3 leading receivers in this offense. They work that ball to them. And then Quinshon Judkins, one of the 2 excellent backs from Ohio State's national championship squad last year, he's the leading rusher in this. Dylan Sampson, they're working in more to this, because I noticed ball. I noticed that, Sampson had been doing a lot of the kick returns. Malachi Corley was doing a lot of that last week.
Former Hilltopper.
The former Hilltopper, the former self-proclaimed Yak King.
What you're saying is they're playing close and around the line of scrimmage because they can't protect. They can't protect the football also. And they got young quarterbacks, or had young quarterbacks, and Dylan Gabriel and now Shadur Sanders, that got to get the ball out of their hands. So guys got to be good side to side, quick and early against the Browns.
Because here's the thing. I hadn't even talked to you about the offensive line woes they have.
Yeah.
Their right guard and right tackle may not play in this game. Like Jack Conklin got his second concussion in that game last week. We know how that usually plays out. And then the right guard has a calf injury, and he was already sharing snaps with Tevin Jenkins. And so maybe that's perhaps a place that Big Jeff and company can exploit a little bit. But they've got bigger woes going into 2026 because they have one guy that's under contract next year, and a lot of those are that are expiring are over 30. But that's their issues. But if you look at these teams, there's a lot of similarities in the issues and the woes that they have.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I was looking at just the box score. I didn't see their game at all against San Francisco, but I think they had a young tight end that had 3 fumbles on the game. They ended up losing, 26-8. They had like 4 fumbles, lost 2 of them. Shedeur, I think, had a situation pop up too. They're just a bad team offensively also. And this could be where you say, okay, you can strike and take advantage of it. But again, you got a Jeffrey Simmons, they got a Myles Garrett. It's who makes the least amount of mistakes this upcoming weekend.
I think the other part of it is who is the better passer of the two as far as getting rid of the ball, the protection. Because, I mean, you've been talking all week about the time to throw that Shedeur had was 3.3 seconds. Like, he can't do that against Jeff and Tavondre and those guys. Just like Cam. Cam needs to get rid of the ball just like he did against the Houston Texans. You need to get that. But both of these teams are going to try to establish the run.
100%. And I think with Quinshon Judkins, too, you look at his rushing numbers this season and what some of the analytics say about him. Over 100 rushing yards over expected this season for Quinshon Judkins. Of his 758 rushing yards, 696 of them are after contact. He is not being given a runway to run into space. He's making guys miss right around the line of scrimmage. Shedeur Sanders, according to Next Gen Stats, 3.37 second time to throw, like you mentioned, in his second start. That is the longest time to throw by a Browns quarterback over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That was always the challenge for Shedeur Sanders coming out of Colorado. And we spoke about it in the draft process, Rhett, with you, and spoke about it at length. He takes a lot of unnecessary hits and sacks by holding on to the ball too long. He was also behind a really bad offensive line at Colorado. The unfortunate truth when you are drafted into a bad situation in the NFL is you're probably going to be behind another bad offensive line.
And I think the other part of it, as Quinshon Judkins, just talking about him for a second, is he only has 17 catches, and he has very much capability of catching out of the backfield. It tells you that 12 personnel is what that again points to Harold Fannin Jr. and David Njoku, the two tight ends in this. By the way, did you see Dane Brugler dropped his first mock draft?
I did. Let's go look at it.
He has the Titans trading with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland trading up from 5 to number 1 and taking Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. Another one. And so the Titans take, in this scenario, number 5 and number 26. At number 5, they take pass rusher from Auburn, Keldrick Falk, 6'6", 270. Pretty powerful pass rusher there. And then at 26, they take a wide receiver for Cam Ward in Texas A&M superstar Casey Concepcion.
I saw him play in person against Tennessee last year when he was at NC State.
Legit.
He is a good player. The only issue I have with this, Rhett, I'm not trying to be not trying to nitpick too much because I would take that haul, but in this scenario, the Titans don't get a 2027 first round pick. In any package, I would rather have a 27 first than have Cleveland's second first this year because of how many premium players are in the 2027 NFL draft between Jeremiah Smith and Cam Coleman, just being a couple of them.
Yeah.
The 27 draft, I know we say this a lot, but this time, like really, Jeremiah Smith could be a top 5 pick tomorrow.
I think it's expected.
If he was available for this draft. I think you've got to get a 2027 first if you're the Titans. And we'll have months to talk about this.
No, yeah.
If you're the Titans and are trading.
There'll be a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Should tell you this just dropped from Adam Schefter. 5 individuals have reached the finalist stage across 3 categories for possible election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2026. Robert Kraft in the contributor category, and that means that probably, if I'm understanding this correctly, K.S. Bud Adams would be eliminated at that point because I think there's just one contributor. And then Coach Bill Belichick, and then the Blue Ribbon Committee for guys who doesn't have eligibility anymore, and the senior committee votes on them, Roger Craig and L.C. Greenwood. And Ken Anderson, quarterback for the Bengals. But if that is what I believe that to be, then that means K.S. Bud Adams will have to wait another year to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I had a feeling they would push Kraft up. Not that they would push Kraft up, but I felt early this offseason,
recency bias too.
Yeah, and
6 world championships, the dynasty
and they're hot
in
right now.
Modern football.
Yeah.
Not named the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ironic, too, that Kraft and Belichick are there together with the very public split that those two had at the end of his days in New England.
Yeah, I think the Titans will always get the credit for ending the dynasty that night, but I think it had some serious foundational issues going into that between those two and Tom Brady as well.
No doubt. Rip Bryan with us in studio Wednesdays at 9. Good to see you as always.
Excellent to see you, gentlemen. And let me go start getting the layers on and ready for Sunday at what is now Huntington Bank Field. I'm still trying to get used to that. It's just Cleveland Browns Stadium. No, Huntington Bank Field, nestled along Lake Erie and the shores there in Cleveland, Ohio.
Love it. Back on the road.
Here we go.
Coming up, a couple of updates to the college football coaching carousel, an incredible hire in the G5, and a P4 coach who is retiring. Coming up next. Rebuttal Will at 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show. Buck Rising on deck. I am out the rest of the week, and I am already looking forward to hearing how Brent Hubbs mocks me for not being here to talk with him on Friday, but that's okay. I'm off to Chattanooga tomorrow morning. We'll be on the call along with Chad Withrow for the Division II Single A state championship between Vanderbilt signee Jared Curtis and Nashville Christian against University School of Jackson. And one Bo Wallace, the offensive coordinator, former Ole Miss quarterback, Bo Hardegree's dad on staff at USJ as well for the Bruins, who are back in the state title for the 8th time in school history. Should be a good one tomorrow afternoon.
It's cool to see Bo Hardegree's dad still be in it, too, because I think he was actually coaching them when Bo was at JCM, Jackson Central Mary.
Yeah.
Back in the day when he and Daniel Brooks were both, RIP, commitments to the University of Tennessee. Jackson, that area used to be, and maybe I'm disconnected from it a little bit, or they're probably just in a downturn, but that Jackson area was so rich and talent, man, the football players for the longest, just the competitiveness of it. And it's still around that area. Milan is still pretty good. Crockett County have players from time to time. And, of course, USJ and a bunch of other schools that are in that area.
Trey Smith's alma mater, University School of Jackson.
I thought it was a JCM. He's a USJ guy, too?
USJ?
Okay.
Yes, he was.
I think Trey ended up having a field named after him, too, recently. I thought he had donated to them, man. So, yeah, big time.
Love it.
Yeah, good luck on that call, man.
Thank you.
Learning those high school rosters, boy. Whew, good luck. It's just a big old roster. That's what it is. You got to be very thorough, especially. I never want to get a kid's name wrong or not give them credit in those type of settings, because I remember those moments.
That is the first thing we'll ask when in doubt with high school coaches is, how do you say the name? Sometimes they say, I don't know, let me ask.
Yeah.
or I say it wrong, but I'll figure it out. So anyway, it could be fun. It's been really obviously fun doing Titans radio this year, but giving up high school football play-by-play this season has felt weird. So glad to do at least one high school football game tomorrow afternoon. So I'm out next 2 days. Lucas will be in. Lucas also, I kind of feel bad that he's filling in for me. He's got 2 games on Saturday. He's got Pearl-Cohn Alcoa in 4A, and then he's got Ravenwood Oakland 6A. So he can talk more about that this week, but he'll be with you the next 2 days. A couple of coaching carousel moves. One of them is a major eyebrow raiser. USF is replacing Alex Golish with Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. I thought that's where Penn State might go next. He's going to USF, Ramon.
See, that's a problem. You thinking about Penn State doing the right thing right now. That's a great move right there for USF. It really is. By the way, it's broken also. The Cleveland Browns have designated Deshaun Watson to return to practice this week, too.
There you go. Okay, Adam Schefter put that out a minute ago. The other report this morning is that Chris Kleiman, Kansas State head coach, will step down and retire, and former Kansas State quarterback and Texas A&M offensive coordinator Colin Klein will be the head coach at his alma mater. He was playing not that long ago. Prediction, Ramon, as of December 3rd, 2025, Colin Klein will be an SEC head coach before 2030. Maybe even sooner than that. I think Colin Klein is very well respected, and people you talk to, I know Stephen Godfrey, our good friend who's on the show a good bit, is a fan of Colin Klein and the job that he's done with that offense. We asked Godfrey in August, who outside of Georgia and Bama and Texas is going to be most frisky? Who's the top of the middle class of the SEC? Godfrey told us A&M because of Colin Klein. And what happened? A&M went 11-1. They're going to go to the playoff, probably host a game because of Colin Klein and Marcel Reed, who is also a Heisman candidate. So remember that name. I think he'll do a good job at Kansas State. And I think that he's going to be an SEC head coach in the next 5 years if he wants to leave his alma mater.
I wonder how many people just mock his last name, though, from the Waterboy movie. Coach Klein. Coach Klein.
Fair.
No, but he's to be taken serious, though. That's the name. Colin Klein, SEC.
I just
a hunch.
Maybe he'll be Kenny Dillingham and stay at his alma mater. But
also, real quick, I was having this text message conversation, group chat conversation. If you're Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State, do you take the Memphis leap? Because every coach that's taken the Memphis job has jumped off the platform.
Absolutely you do. I think that's who Memphis should hire.
Yeah.
Go get Jerry Mack. Jerry Mack,
Kansas.
who is Tennessee's former running backs coach, Memphis guy, has recruited that area. He has done well at Kennesaw State. That is one of the toughest jobs in FBS football. That's one of the newest jobs as well in FBS football, considering they just moved up. Memphis, with FedEx money, has more resources than everyone in their conference. You have a red carpet to a P4 job if you are the head coach at Memphis. They have really good resources considering who they are up against. And yeah, I think there are a lot of good. That job and James Madison both are going to be popular because of their resources relative to who's in their conference.
And here's the thing: the coaches aren't coming there and running the programs into the dirt. Like what Memphis is doing is sustainable. What JMU is doing is sustainable.
100%.
It's just the process of what they are.
USF, I would say, is in the same boat. They got money to spend.
You know how many coaches were in Pittsburgh that went through the Memphis system?
Yeah,
a ton.
Back at it tomorrow morning, Lucas Panzica and Ramon Foster for the next 2 days. I will talk to you on the television set for Nashville Christian and USJ tomorrow, and I will see you all Monday, hopefully thawed out for my trip to Cleveland this weekend.
Twitter fingers and your mic, good people, always hot. Peace.